You are listening to Let's Talk by Broke Boys.
Everyone, welcome back to the Let's Talk podcast. Let me explain, obviously, what's been going down. Started this podcast last year in January. Had all the intentions to really hit it hard. And obviously, because Corona hit, and as you most probably saw, this is a little bit different. So I'll explain where we are in a minute. But our setup, if you watch this on YouTube, our setup for the podcast is literally a meter, less than a meter's distance across the table, talking to someone. So all of that went out the window real quick. So today, slightly different setup. I'm at a friend's house. We're currently, it's going to sound posh, but we're currently in their bar. All right. And yeah, if you're new to the podcast, let me just explain. With Let's Talk, we invite on, I've been inviting on basically people that are aspirational, anyone that can really inspire the listener. We've had YouTubers, we had Helen Stanley, she's from Goblin Works Garage on TV on Dave, and then who else we had? Dan from Kill All Wipers, owner of Kill All Wipers. So it's all about making sure that the person is just someone that's aspirational, someone that's got a pathway that they're taking. And then today I'm gonna basically go into where this one's come from and how this was easier for us to film, etc. So first things first, we're adhering to social distancing. We're over 2 meters away. So before anyone hurts us, this is the deal. And long story short, I asked a friend of mine, Jack, who's sitting in front of me now, would you come on my podcast with me? I love what he does and love what he's done for a very long time. It's very different to what you might have heard on the podcast previously. If you are a listener, if you're brand new, it's a great place to start anyway. I usually start off by saying, explain yourself, but I'll ask you a couple of questions in a minute. So first things first, when did we meet? I thought of this the other day, right? I think I know when we first met.
I think it was in year 8. I remember where it was. It was at a house party.
Hang on, and I was with...
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So,
Year 8? Year 9?
That must have been year 9, bro.
Potentially. I don't know.
It must have been year
14?
9.
Tops 14.
No, surely not. This must have been... No, it can't be. Because I'm sure I was with them after my first girlfriend.
Just say the name and then bleep it out.
All right, okay. So my first girlfriend, I've broken up with them. And this was a couple of months after, I'm sure. Well, not that anything was serious then. And I was with... Blur my lips out as well. And then you were there, but I swear I didn't even fucking speak to you. I know you at the time. You
did, mate.
How beautiful was?
So,
did I?
Yeah, you did. Because I think, go on. How beautiful? I think I know what you're going to say.
I was going to say this is how beautiful you stood out to me. That blue shirt was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was like a Hollister shirt or something.
It was. It was all
Thank you.
It was all the rage back then.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then
cool.
we exchanged love hearts afterwards.
Oh, okay. I remember that bit.
I've still got that.
Do you actually?
Yeah, it's upstairs in my room. Yeah, legit. I'll send you a picture of it.
But what happened to mine?
I don't know, mate.
I'm
just
so
shows
upset.
you how much one of us cherishes the friendship.
Yeah, you cherish the friendship way more than me.
And on that note, get out.
Yeah, so basically, I asked Jack on because you've got a cool history with work. You've got a current cool job in regards to in the place that you are and what you're doing and the money that you're earning. You're doing well for yourself and stuff like that. And then, I also wanted to come on just to talk shit for 2 hours, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, when you said to me about, will you come on the podcast? I think my response to you was, what am I going to talk about apart from shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been friends since, obviously we're talking about 2009, around that time. It must have been around that time, mate, because I was 15 in 2009. I remember that year so well. I met you.
Bless.
God, this is fucking turning weird, isn't it? I love you, bro.
Should we just turn the cameras off?
Yeah. All right. So, 2009 is when we met.
Yep.
We've known each other, fucking hell, so that's 11, nearly 12 years, right?
Long time, mate.
And since then, you've had a handful of, I say a handful, not too many, but you've had some cool. Well, you've had some cool jobs and then cool positions in your current job.
Yeah.
So explain. I want you to start from the beginning. Explain. How old are you?
27.
I know how old you are, but
27. Yeah.
27 years old. Explain to me your first job. How old you were, and I'm assuming this was when you was. I can bleep this name out as well, but when you was working for.
No.
Was it not?
No.
Explain.
I'd done a very, 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 very short stint in Zara.
Oh!
Water. Yeah.
Oh, how could I forget?
Yep. Do you know how you could forget?
Because it was a day?
Because it was 2.
It was 2 days. Perfect.
Yep, it's 2 days.
Was you
yeah.
pissed off at the fact that they still have like 2 people to serve someone, which still confuses the absolute life out of me?
I
go Zara.
remember I had to go through like 4 interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
For a Zara role?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think it was like 2 or 3 in London.
Yeah.
I think it was Regent Street I had to go to.
Fucking hell,
Yeah.
mate.
As for a 16-year-old part-time
Nice.
sales assistant
Yeah,
role, whatever
nice.
it was.
A little bit overkill.
Shop
but
front. Yeah,
we'll go with it.
And I actually remember the interview was mad. So they said to me, you had to. It was like a group interview. So
Yeah.
I had to sit with I think 5 or 6 different people,
Yeah.
to which none of them spoke a word
Of
to
English?
me or
Oh,
no,
I thought you. Sorry, I thought you said
to,
didn't
to
speak
me
English.
or to anyone.
Really?
Got obviously like a really nervous group. So yeah,
I was just gonna say-
had to take the lead on it.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Was you the only one that got the job?
I mean, I didn't really stay in touch with them, mate. to be
Oh,
honest.
no, because sorry, because this is up London, isn't it? So
Yeah,
you all
this
just
was like
went,
second stage group interview,
that's
and they
mental, mate.
and they asked us to design an outfit,
Yeah.
right, for like a star who was going to a red carpet event. This is mad how I remember this because it was so ingrained in my head.
Out of Zara's line.
No,
that they
no,
had
no,
at the
no. You
time?
just had to design your own outfit
Okay.
for a star that would go on the red carpet,
Yeah.
and then she could or he could wear it to the after party event.
What?
That was my interview at 16 years old to get a job in
Do
Blue.
they think they're hiring design
I mean-
interns or like fashion?
wait till you hear what I designed, mate.
Okay, go on.
I swear to you, this is on my own as well.
Okay.
Read into this as you will.
Yeah.
It was a dress,
Yeah.
a long black dress. I'm sure it's black.
Did it?
Regardless of
Was
the
it for a girl or for a boy?
Yeah, it was for a girl. For a
Okay,
girl,
cool
yeah,
then.
yeah. This is like...
This was for me.
yeah.
We had to base it on ourselves. It was a long black dress.
And I done it for that. So that was for the red carpet event.
Yeah.
And afterwards, it had inner zips
Yeah.
down the dress to
Yeah.
turn it into a party. Like a midi length
Yeah.
party dress afterwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, mate, they absolutely lapped it up.
They bought into it.
Yeah, and then I had to go for another 2 interviews after that.
Well, they make you fucking do. Make it. Jesus Christ.
Then I had to go back up to London for another interview.
Yeah.
And then into store.
That's
another
insane.
interview.
Into the London store.
No, into Bluewater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's mental.
And I went straight
mate.
from sixth form in a blue Conor McGregor-esque pinstripe suit.
Nice.
3-piece.
Yeah.
I looked like an ass. Like I walked in.
At all.
It was like middle of the day. So
Yeah.
there's no one in there bar the people that worked in Zara.
Yeah.
And I went in there and asked, obviously, I had to meet the manager, whatever her name was. Mate, to be fair, I think she still works in there till this day.
Nice.
And
Nice
I
refurb,
looked-
by
I
the way,
looked
Zara,
like
if you're listening.
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah. And I looked like an absolute twat.
Yeah.
Twat.
Yeah.
Do
Do you
and yeah,
regret
that-
that suit, or was it just because it was the situation at the time?
No,
like where
but
you were?
I didn't regret. The suit was lovely. But, I mean, I thought it was anyway. But
Yeah.
it was like everyone, because there was no customers in there.
Yeah.
Everyone that worked in there was like, vroom, straight to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And then you could tell everyone was like, oh my God, who is this?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that afternoon, they called me up, said they'd give me the job. They gave me a 2-day, so a Saturday and a Sunday, full shifts from open to close. And it was my other half's birthday weekend. And I worked both days. So she was like fuming that I'd worked a whole birthday weekend. And then I was playing football at the time as well. So on the Monday I called him and I was like, yeah, nah, got to commit to football rather than Zara.
That's funny, isn't it? You spent more days interviewing than you did actually at the job.
In the job. Yeah. Horrific, mate.
That's
Absolutely
so
horrific.
jokes. Only
Yeah.
group interview. This isn't about me, but only group interview that I ever did. And I'm gonna give full disclaimer. This isn't like me giving myself props. It was a Hollister interview that I managed to get. Fuck knows how.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my friend.
Fuck. They didn't scout me, boys. Don't worry. I didn't walk in Hollister and they went, you. Do you know what I mean? Fucking sex appeal. I want you. It was nothing like that. It was. I was applying for jobs absolutely everywhere, and it was the only. I'll give you how Zara separate from Hollister. Hollister took all about 10 to 15 group interviewees, i.e. me, with the other people out the back of their shop in Bluewater.
Did you have to like step in and introduce yourself, or
Oh,
is that what they had to do?
literally, mate. I shit you not. They lined us all up against the wall, and they just went along and like introduced us. And I don't think they asked a couple of questions, and then like you would just basically like raise your hand, but they were awful questions. You're like, raise your hand. They know the worst thing with that was they knew for a fact who they were going to employ.
It was all
Don't get me
looks
wrong.
anyway, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was like all based on looks, wasn't it?
That was all based on looks, yeah. But don't get me wrong, you had some ugly fuckers in there, and I thought to myself, perfect, hopefully I get one of those roles. But let's be straight, mate. They knew exactly who they were going to get in.
Yeah.
Like, they knew 15 people in a lineup, you'd get in there, and they'd just be like, right, there's literally 2 that we want. Regardless of the answers that you gave, regardless of what you said, I've walked in there. I knew a fair few kids that worked at Hollister from
Do you not remember when?
school.
Yeah, when you was at school and like being in Hollister, working in Hollister
Yeah.
was like the epitome of life.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God, have
Yeah,
you
you
heard blah, blah,
made
blah.
Yeah.
Mate, I could most probably list about 5 people on the top of my head that went to your school that worked
Easy.
in Hollister.
Yeah.
And then I can most probably list about 3 that then made the big ranks and went to Abercrombie and Fitch instead.
Yeah.
And it was like they just got. It was like, would you like to work here? It was don't get me wrong, a massive compliment in one sense, but really, when you think back then, now you think to yourself, who was walking around scouting 16-year-old kids? Do you know what I mean? It's really odd,
it's
isn't
a bit
it?
weird, isn't it?
But the group interview was awful. It was the worst thing I've ever fucking done. I wish I never did it. It was literally wasting my time. It made me go, well, that was fucking pointless. Like, wasting my day. I walked in. We lined up against this wall. They said, wear casual. The only shirts I had for casual were Hollister shirts. I wore a Hollister shirt, like, open.
Brownie points.
Yeah, I think I must have been the only kid there wearing Hollister. I thought, wow, I've overdone it a bit. But I was literally just wearing their shirts, what I wore anyway. Stood up against the wall. They said, oh, what would you like to be doing in 5 years' time? And you just like step forwards, and then I go, I think that, and it was just the worst, drippiest kids. They would get like 2 answers out of people and go, okay, moving on. And then they'd just, all right, thank you very much. And you was just like, right, I've not got that. And that was pointless. I didn't get to talk. It was weird. I
horrendous.
never understood group interviews. Anyway, Zara, first job.
first
Skipping
job.
that aside because we've all had terrible fucking jobs.
Yeah.
Your next one, the one that I just mentioned, was most
Yes.
probably the one that was at the second job.
Well, I'd done sort of like part-time weekends.
Yeah.
Like working front of house, estate agencies, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, but that was during school.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, second job was straight after sixth form. Went and worked in the big bag city, in the West End.
And what can you say what the company was called? I'm assuming that's okay. You had to say that?
I can tell you what we've done,
Say what you did
just
then.
in case. Yeah. So,
I'll like I said, I'll bleep the name.
fine. So the firm, well, the company itself that I worked for was called Misfit.
Yeah.
So we were the main supplier of garments to New Look.
Yeah.
It sounds like I had like this thing to go into fashion, but it just wasn't. It
Well,
just happened that
oh
that
my
was how
God.
it landed.
I just realised we can tell the story about how I almost had a brand and you technically almost had a brand before this called Broke.
Yeah.
Apparel.
Yeah.
All right, go on, carry on.
So, oh yeah, mate, we went through like loads of different name changes,
Yeah.
copyrights.
And isn't it really weird that Broke? I don't know how the fuck I ended up with Broke again. I mean, I've always been broke, but I don't know how that ended up.
Do you know what
sticking
I've
with
actually
me.
got on my MSN account?
Go on.
That has like 13,000 unread emails.
Yeah.
In a saved file, I have the original
Design.
designs.
Do you remember the Queen's Head design?
Yeah, I've got it all on my phone.
Yeah. Do you know the funniest thing? I ended up using the Queen's Head design about 2 years ago
Did
a
we
year
find
ago
out that was illegal
for a Broke Boys design.
to print the Queen's head on stuff?
Most probably.
Or did we print a note?
It was a note.
It's a copy of a note, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we didn't go the full note, did we? We circled it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah,
it
I've
was the
got it.
same. I ended up finding a free.
There you go.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, I've got the
Show me it
joggers.
from there because I'll you can send it to me another time.
Mate, I've even got the hand drawn
That's unreal.
that we used to do that in my dining room.
That's sick. So, like, as an example, this is why I got Jack on the podcast because obviously, like, well, mate, we nearly had I very, very lightly say this. We nearly had a business together. There was a business opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean we were only like 18,
Yeah.
young, dumb.
No, I think I was. Yeah, we was younger than that. Most probably.
Yeah.
Surely 17.
No, because when you left sixth form, we were both 18, weren't we?
Was this after sixth form?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
think we discussed it in school,
Yeah.
and then because of the job that I was in, where we were manufacturing clothes on a daily
Yeah.
basis, it was almost like an
obvious.
obvious progression. to go into
The
that,
geezer that run the place wanted a bit of a side hobby as well, didn't he? He's got.
Yeah, he loves investing in startup companies and
Yeah.
young
How
people.
was his? I mean, if he wants to invest in me now, he's more than welcome to.
There's a queue, mate.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've known you since day. All right, come on, mate.
I'm not talking just about me. There's
No.
a lot of people in that queue.
No, obviously not. Yeah. Okay. So you managed to bag yourself a job. Call a company called Misfit.
Yeah.
You were the supplier for garments at
New Look.
New Look for women at the time because they didn't have a men's
They
department,
did not.
did they?
No.
What was your role?
So I used to do a fair bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like even down to if one of the top bosses wanted a coffee,
Yeah.
I'd go and get him a coffee.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, you was young, innit? You was at the bottom. Like,
trying
that
to earn a bit of respect from everyone, and like they put like the bottom, like
Yeah.
you know, and I'll go on to, well, I'm sure we'll get onto like wages and money on what it was. 'Cause,
Yeah.
and then I would do stuff from like, so we had obviously updating each costing sheet to the system,
Yeah.
which basically said how much each
Yeah.
part of that dress
Yeah.
was costing per length, how much material we had in factories all over the world,
Yeah.
dealing with the cutters downstairs, taking literally like sample dresses that were that would then be manufactured into huge bulks to go into shops, take them over to the girls at New Look. Saw Kelly Brook in there once.
So the girls at New Look, just their staff, they would be like, yeah, I think this will work. I don't think this does.
I literally,
Oh,
I was
you
an
just
18-year-old kid
Turning up, dropping
with
it off.
no facial hair, apart from a bit of bum fluff
I
on
know
the
you
top of
did.
his lip.
You did blossom in that area.
And I used to walk into New Look, which is full of intimidating, strong women, and just go,
I love how you want to say fit birds, but
well, they were that as well. And literally just go, I used to walk over with a guy called Chris and just go,
hello.
thank you, bye, see you later, bye. And run out there as quick as I can and then just get outside and be like, yeah, well, now that.
Oh, they lapped out. They loved it.
But I was like, literally, in our firm,
Yeah.
I was the only, I'm going to say boy, because I was a boy.
Well, no, you was because I turned up to your place.
I was the only boy
Yeah.
there. The next age up to me were the big bad bosses who were like, mid-30s
When it comes
at the
to
time,
when it comes
but
to the next men in the company.
there was only 4 of us.
Yeah,
on the
mental,
floor.
mate. Because I remember coming up. So let's explain what actually happened, and I'll ask you some more questions on that in a minute. So your reason we won't say his name is because one, I don't know if he'd want to be disclosed as the owner of the business. Not that it wouldn't, not that any of you necessarily a listener would care or whatever.
Yeah, you
But
just got to be careful with those
You got to be
sort of
careful,
things.
like
Yeah.
discretion, right? So this guy obviously hired you. He had he wasn't at the point. Well, he was very successful, but wasn't as successful as he is now.
Now it's like different.
Yeah, now it's
levels,
different
yeah,
league,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So at the
But
time,
don't get me wrong.
at the time,
it was
extremely
still- yeah.
successful anyway. Turned around to you and basically said, like, don't have a fucking idea that you want to throw at me, dear, or don't want to try and do something yourself. Was it something like that?
I think it was. I think he saw like I was doing other stuff when I shouldn't have been,
Yeah.
and it was almost like I think we were discussing,
Yeah.
where we can get white labeled T-shirts and garments from
Yeah.
to put a
Oh,
to put
mate,
a
this
print
is
on.
mental.
Because we actually got like a fruit
all
of the
this.
loom, like really shit quality T-shirt, and took it down to a printing company down the road, didn't they? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And they
They DT.
Yeah, it was-
No, it wasn't heat press. It was DTG.
Yeah, whatever it was.
This
It
is
was
insanity, bro.
terrible.
Because at the time, obviously, mate, you saying all this, I forgot. Like, I literally forgot all of this.
mate, that's because it seems a lifetime ago.
It's mad,
That's
isn't it?
why.
Well, it is. It's 10 years ago, mate.
Yeah.
10 years ago this year. Oh, man. Right, anyway, so, yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's mental.
And then I remember saying to you, like, how bad the T-shirts were that we had.
yeah, they were
And
itchy.
I was like, wait, why are we trying to buy off of like some random website in the back end of nowhere?
Like, why don't I just ask my
Why
guy?
don't I just speak to the
boss.
guy I work for?
Yeah.
Because that's what we do on a daily basis.
And then he was quite interested. Well, not interested, but he was, okay, like...
I think he
like
quite
your
liked that there
aspirational-
was like a couple of young boys
Yeah.
who were trying to do something for themselves and not just sit in an office and work for them.
And work, yeah, I
we
like
were
that.
trying to come up
Yeah.
with something. Do you remember? It was like Risk Couture at the time. Do you remember? And they got
Mate,
hold of like
mental.
Mario Falcone from Only
Mario
Way Essex,
Falcone, yeah.
and then they
Oh.
blew up, didn't they?
Killed it.
Yeah,
Don't know whatever
yeah,
happened to them, if I'm honest.
And then we started all of our Twitter and started messaging all these influencers at the time.
We got
And
Noel Clark.
Yeah, we got quite a few come back because
That was
because
mental.
Mario followed us back
Yeah.
and started messaging us as well.
Right, listen. So this has got to be explained. So obviously at the time, Instagram. When did Instagram start? 2012.
I don't even think I had Instagram.
No, I don't think Instagram was a thing
we had
yet.
Twitter.
Yeah. I don't
Twitter
think
was the
Instagram
one,
was a
wasn't it?
thing yet. There was two brands. There was Risk Couture, which was the blow up one, and then there was another one called. It's like we have got so many background noise things going on right now. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
That's the fridges now.
That's the fridges.
Yeah.
Don't worry. There's someone to be in with a fucking Hoover in a minute. We had Risk Couture, and then we also had. There was something like Rose London. I don't know if this was at the same time, but this was definitely around that time, and I'll tell you why. Because they've been going forever, and they sent me out. This was years ago. I bought something from them. They sent me out the stuff. It was the worst fucking thing I've ever come across in my life. It was awful. Anyway, long story short, we got on Twitter and we started obviously pushing the stuff. And back then, influencer marketing didn't exist. It wasn't a thing yet.
It was just on that
Well,
cusp of
I mean,
turning,
I
wasn't
don't even think
Yeah.
it was on a cusp, mate. If I'm honest, I don't even think you could give it that. I think it was like, it was the first time anyone was ever kind of going, like, wouldn't it be a good idea
Yeah,
if
these
like
people
we
have
gave it to a
reach,
famous
yeah.
person?
Yeah.
Like this was brand new. So yeah, we reached out, we tweeted a couple of people, and it was as easy as this. We literally turned around to a load of celebrities at the time on Twitter. This is insane. I can't believe
Mental,
this.
isn't it?
This is mental. I fucking
I
forgot.
remember it. I remember us. We had that one night where I think we got like 4 or 5
yeah.
celebrities.
I was
tweet-
gas, mate, 'cause I got on my phone.
Messaged us back, and we were like,
What?
"We've made it."
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
This
believe
is
it.
We've broken the.
Imagine,
we've broken the
it's so
first
annoying
part.
though, because imagine if we'd actually done that. Imagine, don't even talk about
yeah,
it. Right,
yeah,
it upset me. So, don't get me wrong, you have to go for 1 million businesses and you're foul 1 million to, do you know what I mean?
Standard, mate.
How it works. But, yeah, I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, oh my God, like you said, we've made it, because we had Noel Clark. It is Noel Clark, isn't it? Noel Clark's the guy I like.
Yeah. Kidulthood and adulthood.
Yeah. Noel Clark retweet us or tweet us back, and then I think gave us a shout out. Mario Falcone jumped in, either whatever you would call it, DMs, messaged us.
Yeah,
or
he messaged us and was
something
like,
like that.
sit there basically, like,
Yeah.
send me some stuff.
Yeah, and we
Go
was
for it.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of other people, and I can't remember who they were. They're mostly like Towie related stars or something.
Yeah, I think that's where we tried going down
Obviously,
that route at first.
it was
wasn't
the only fucking route to go,
Yeah.
mate. It was like the only program that existed. It was the first ones, and it was easy back then. Now you tweet these people, they'll just be like, shut up, there's 1 million of you. Fair enough, right? So that happened. I remember going and sitting in the like meeting room with you and having a sit down meeting. He was like, what are the ideas? What's the designs? And
Yeah, that was in the big meeting room we had at the back, wasn't it?
I don't like we sat down with him. I don't think he liked it at all, because he was just like, I don't really.
I
Because the
think
first
what
ones he was a bit like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think where we missed the trick there was it's having that USP. We were our USP we were trying to have was the quality of the clothing.
yeah.
The designs were
Just
obviously
young,
the
naive
designs,
stuff,
but like,
yeah.
we was like, right, like you said, you ordered that bit of clothing from wherever they were called. It
Fruit
turned
Loom.
up and it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
Rose.
and we was like, and even I had a couple of Risk t-shirts, and the quality of them was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad at the time.
And we didn't walk in with enough weight,
Yeah,
like with our idea to say, like, you got us to get in front of someone like that. Takes like some people will never ever get there,
yeah.
and when you finally get the opportunity, you've got to control the room.
Yeah.
And
We
so
were like
I'm
young,
sure we'll
naive,
get
and we got it handed to us.
yeah, and we were trying to punch well above our weight.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And for someone like that who's got 1,000,001 of things on their mind,
Yeah.
investments left, right, and centre, unless you're
Yeah.
coming with something that they sort of they're writing stuff down, they look up and go, what?
Yeah. At the
Unless
time,
you can get that moment, yeah.
at the
it
time,
was-
I did. Don't get me wrong. I never looked down on the geezer at all. At the time, I was sat there and I just thought to myself, like afterwards, we had like a month after, and I thought like nothing came of it, and I was just like, Jack, like chase this up, but nothing ever went anywhere. And then I was thinking to myself, like, why?
So
Like,
not-
now I look back, I'm like,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
you fucking
And you,
idiot.
and you,
Why
you took
would
it
you
like
have
as a
given
proper like personal knock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, though, I was like, oh man, like. But then now I look back, I'm like, obviously you wouldn't have fucking said anything, you idiot. Like,
Yeah.
obviously. All right, okay. So
young and naive, mate, we were.
Yeah. Oh, completely, mate. But that's insane. I completely forgot about that. That's wicked. That is, because that, like I said, that's the weirdest thing. And I want to give everyone a little bit of perspective, right? So since before Broke Boys, some people look at Broke Boys now and they'll ask questions about, oh, bro, like, what did you do to get to, like, not, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not fucking successful at all. I'm still driving a van. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm still whipping around in my Transit, and I live at home. I don't have a gaff. Like, I ain't got none of this stuff. But obviously, at the time, at moments, people will say, like, how have I at least just got to this position? And oh my god, it's trial and error, isn't it? Like,
mate, all these things build the path for you.
Yeah, because
if we hadn't have gone through that,
yeah,
and
the amount of clothing brands
almost rejection,
yeah, completely,
it potentially may not have spurred you on, whether you knew it or not at the time, to do what you've done.
Yeah, mental, mate. Because over the last, since that, I've most probably had attempts at about 3 or 4 different brands, most probably. And don't get me wrong, subconsciously, I never noticed until now that I wanted a clothing brand. Never noticed. I knew at the time back then, I was like, that would be really cool. But then over the years, I just liked clothes, right? So it was Broke Apparel, which was the first one.
Yep.
That was with you.
Yep.
I had one called D-Label.
But do you remember when we changed the name like 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, what else did we have though?
Brassic.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh
do you remember,
my god.
Do you remember we were sitting there going,
Broke
I think
Apparel,
Broke Apparel was taken by like an American company.
Yeah.
And he, I mean, we got shot down, if you remember rightly, in one of the meetings.
Yeah.
So he was like, are all the web domains available? And we all looked at each other and was like,
yeah.
Web domains available? We've never checked.
Yeah.
So we come up with this like great idea and like the foundation of it, of at the time having a website.
Yeah, we changed to Brassic.
Yeah, and then we changed it to Brassic, and I was like, right, that is actually, I actually really like the name.
Yeah.
We were a bit worried in case people didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
But it looked really cool on print and on t-shirts and clothing. And we got the domains. We bought the domains. Yeah.
I've forgotten all of this.
Yeah. And then I think even he turned around and was like, that's a cool name. I like it. Keep going. And then he went, I think in another meeting, have you checked that it's not copyright? And then we all sat there and went, which of it's not copyright? like, what? I don't know.
Because we had no one to ask.
And it was copyrighted by a university.
Yes.
Who had a night out
called
Brassic. And they had the copywriting to print it on clothing. And at that point, we was like, what is going on?
We're done.
But it's those things you learn.
Yeah. Without
but
those
we hadn't
mistakes,
gone through that process.
You had to make a mistake every single time.
100%.
To learn that. That's mental,
100%.
isn't it?
Yeah, if you actually... I mean, I'm sure there was loads of other things where he absolutely slapped us back down. But he done it for a reason.
He didn't slap badly.
But he done it for a reason.
Yeah, he wasn't mugging us off in the interview. Like he was turning around and going, yo, just to let you know, like, you need to think that. And we were like, oh, fuck. Like, every time. But the funny thing is now you can go online, you can watch shit tons of videos on YouTube, you can watch other people on Instagram, you can reach out to people, you can listen to podcasts, you can do all this stuff. Back then, there was nothing.
No.
Nothing at
agreed.
all. It wasn't like okay, guys, first thing you need to set up are this, and this. It was like, right, what the fuck are we doing? Like, and the only person to ask was a 30, 40, 50, well, I say 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old man. Don't get me wrong, he was young, but you see the point I'm making, like, really, because they're the ones that have really run through.
It's the knowledge and experience that we didn't have.
Which is insane. Yeah, mate, I forgot.
Right?
But think about it, right? I'll address this in a minute, but I've got to say this quickly to you. Broke Apparel, Brassic, Broken. Like, there is...
all the same
I don't
sort of
understand.
Thing. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, right. I will go over it in a second. So, we had... I'm so shocked. I forgot all about it. That's so sick. That's mental. I've known you for too long.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a whole lifetime.
So jokes, mate. That is so jokes. I can't believe that.
But until you sort of like go over these things, like you just
the Brassic thing and the university thing, I would never have remembered.
Do you not remember we sent them an email basically saying, like, you know, we gave it the big one that we're working with a investor and we've got money.
Did we get a reply?
And we can, and we said, like, we would like to buy the copyright of you, and if basically we're gonna come up with this clothing brand and we'll print the t-shirts for you.
Yeah.
Just to try and lure it away from them. And he sent us some shitty email back, like basically saying where to poke it.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like someone from the university, like a teacher from the university, wrote back to us fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And basically went, we are not interested. Go away.
I can't remember that.
Yeah.
At all.
And that was like the nail in the coffin, like for I think
Yeah.
our young 18 swashbuckling ideas and
Yeah.
running around with confidence.
Yeah.
And then we was like, this is just like knock after knock after knock.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that's where it sort of got to.
Amazing. I'm really happy that you reminded me of all of that because I do flash back at certain things and think to myself, oh, that's why I am in the position I am, or that's why I am motivated to do the things that I do.
All builds you up and leads you to where
That's
you are.
mental, mate. Right. Okay. So you work for this guy. You do you mind me asking how much you're earning or roundabouts?
£1,000 a month.
Okay. So you're earning fuck all money. Like you're
And
earning
the train ticket was just shy of £300
mental.
because I had to get train and tube. So
And it's obviously you know why, but in a second everyone I know it's important I ask you that question because obviously linking to what you did after that. Then now
I
let's
got
get
one wage rise actually.
Did you?
Yeah,
From 1,000 up to
1,200.
oh, amazing!
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So and don't get me wrong. That's not hitting at the owner. That's not hitting at there. You're at the bottom, like you said.
Yeah.
You're at the bottom of the
Yeah,
pile,
yeah,
and it's a different time, mate. Minimum wage was different then. I remember when I started
Yeah.
working in Morrison's years and years ago. I think minimum wage at the very bottom end was like $6.50, and I was getting like $7.50, and it was like blow my mind. Oh my god, this is amazing! Like you've got
to be
a
fair,
pound over.
I remember when I first like 2 or 3 days I went up there, mate. Thought I was living the dream. Thought it was the nuts, man. On the rat race,
Yeah.
train, tube, the lot. Working in the city at 18 years old. Told how
You've
much I
nailed
was
it.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Told her how much I was going to be earning. I was like, I found £1,000 a month.
1,000.
What? I was like,
Yeah.
I've made it.
Yeah.
I was like, what on earth? And
Yeah.
honestly, mate, I swear to you that is exactly what went through my head. And I
Oh,
remember
of
coming
course.
back so.
Everyone does.
I remember coming back home so happy. And he's like, I'm getting £1,000 a month. £1,000. What can I do with £1,000?
I've never seen £1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, no, I've got like £275 a month train ticket.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was still like, even at that level, like £700.
And
Jesus
and
Christ.
like, it was a status thing as well. Not necessarily like a status thing for your ego, but a status thing of I'm in London, so therefore I'm already halfway there. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
I've made it.
yeah.
I've made it this far. Now, if I wanted to get myself another
the
job,
institution,
Yeah.
of what I'm meant to do.
yeah,
I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm in the right place,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Let's move on to the nitty gritty of it all.
Yeah.
So, your dad owns an estate agency. Has owned it for 20. How many years? 25 years.
24, 25 years.
Yeah, all right. So 20, let's say 25 years for argument's sake. So 25 years in the estate agency game, and obviously, I know your dad just as well as you fucking do, and better than anyone. And he wanted to see his sons grab the flag and run. In a sense. In a sense.
Yeah, I think at the start, it wasn't like a foregone conclusion that I had a job offer to go work in my dad's, because it was never offered.
No.
And it was almost like he was of the opinion that you go out and earn your trade first.
Oh, of
work
course,
for the man,
yeah.
understand what it's like to work for someone else, have to be on time, get the training.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's snowing, find a way into work.
Yeah.
If you don't feel very well, you still got to go in. Like it was you got to learn the
Yeah,
way of life,
course,
sort of thing.
Of course. But I mean, as in your dad's aspiration. I didn't mean that in a horrible way. I mean, as in like your dad's aspiration is like, especially now, he's so proud of his sons. He's so proud of his boys. Like on the basis of he can see them every day doing what he loves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even though
yeah.
and
I love it too now, don't.
Yeah, of course. So even though you've got to go out and earn your stripes, there was always but if there was the opportunity for them to work for me one day, I would like it.
I'm
because
sure he'd grab it with both hands. Yeah.
who wouldn't? Like,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
isn't sitting here right now trying to build a empire for their own kids? Like,
Mate,
do you know
that's
what I
what we're
mean?
here
Like,
for, yeah, exactly.
that's well, not everyone, but that's what a large amount of us are at least attempting, or at least attempting to earn money to give to their fucking kids anyway, even if they're making them earn it at first. All right, so your dad had an estate agency for 25 years. You finish up the job in London for. Was there any real reason, or you just thought to yourself, "This ain't for me"? Or
I
do you
didn't
not
really.
wanna say?
So the fashion industry itself and the rag trade
Yeah.
was never. Like I never sat in school and going, I'm going to get in the rag trade.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't have any passion for it, and I didn't wake up in the morning going, I cannot wait to get into work.
Yeah.
So it
I
got
feel
to that point, and I was like, do you know what? Because I didn't fall straight into estate agency afterwards.
No.
I was sitting there going, right, earning the money, whatever is great. So I didn't choose to. I chose not to go to university because I was like, right, I'm going to get straight into work and start earning and building this empire that I'm after.
Yeah.
As we all think at
Of course.
17, 18 years old. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do something I want to wake up in the morning and I can't wait to get into.
Yeah.
So I went to go and do personal training courses.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I love fitness.
Yeah.
The guy I worked for was a huge fitness enthusiast. Was like on the in a few muscle magazines like Men's Health and stuff like that. Yeah.
He was
He
in
went
it.
for a transformation, didn't he?
Yeah,
Do you
I remember that actually. Because obviously
he turned into an absolute tank, mate. He
Still-
was huge.
I've might blank that as well.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. Still got
Yeah.
that. I don't know how much he pushes that anymore, but he's still got it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's mad into fitness.
Yeah.
Like that started me on my like fitness journey as such of getting into like what my macronutrients are a day and
Yeah.
how much protein I'm eating
Something
and how much
I-
sleep I'm getting, how much water I'm drinking every day, my
Yeah.
vitamin intake. Like it got mad at that
Yeah.
point, and I
Yeah.
got a bit obsessive with it. And at that point, I was like, I'm obsessing so much over this side of things because I love it. I'm really into it, and I could physically see myself changing. So I'd really like to get into that. I'll go and work in a gym and train people for a daily on a daily and really enjoy what I'm doing. And then I thought. Then my dad said to me, actually, why don't you? I mean, the industry. I've built a company in this industry. Why don't you come into this one? But I don't want you to work for me.
Oh, really? Was that
So-
his initial take on it?
Yeah.
Right.
So I went and interviewed for another local firm. Yeah.
Can you say who they are? Tell me who they are. No way.
Yeah, you'll have to bleep that bit out.
No, I will do.
So I went to Petswood,
Yeah.
went into their head office,
Yeah.
interviewed.
And they went, "You're that fucking
Well,
thingy, son."
So two brothers owned it,
Yeah.
or family owned it.
Yeah.
The brother I interviewed was like, "I'll give you a job tomorrow," and the other one went, "Absolutely no chance."
Because you know.
Yeah, because obviously, Dad
Really?
owns a local rival, if you want to call it a rival, or another.
Estate agency.
They're basically saying it'd be like.
It's a rival estate agency, mate. It's in the same. Working
Yeah,
in the same
you'd be like
area.
conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, of
I
course,
could be
yeah.
sitting there and going, "Dad, just to let you know,
Yeah.
number 76 down the road is coming on the market. If
Yeah.
you get in there quick."
How did he know?
What
So
do you
your
mean?
last name?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madness.
So yeah, that's what happened, and then I think I've actually still got the text messages on my phone, of him basically saying, "Yeah, like my brother's not going to go for it, unfortunately."
My brother,
so,
imagine blaming it on that as well. Pass the buck.
Yeah. So that one got shot down because of
Yeah.
that, and I thought I nailed that interview as well.
You most probably did.
Yeah, and then that was
But
another, like,
unfortunately, mate, you had a
But I
heavy
didn't-
shadow over
but
you.
I didn't think
cast
of
over
that
you.
at like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, you felt
it must have been like
shot
20,
down.
turning 21.
Yeah.
And then, but I was like, yeah, you can come in and work for me, because literally someone just left.
I think
They're
as
from
well,
the
mate.
office.
You've knowing you've always had like a instinctive salesman-like attitude about you. I think so.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Like, I don't
I
think
think-
you're a heavy nasty, because I think salesman carries a stigma. But I definitely think you've had like
I quite like dealing with people,
like dealing with people. You're
Yeah.
talkative. You're outgoing,
Yeah.
charismatic kind of
but
thing.
I'm not. I don't like the whole pushy.
No.
Buy now, buy now, buy
No,
now.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily view that as salesman. I see salesman as someone that can like nurture someone into
Nurturing.
the sale.
Yeah,
You come
yeah,
along
keyword.
like obviously when I did my sales job, like we were taught like push in like the most salesman ways, so they don't realise that you're pushing them. However, actually on the flip side, sometimes I preferred actually talking to them nicely.
Yeah,
And
on a
all of
level,
a sudden
yeah.
they'll go, "Yeah, all right then, mate, I trust you." So I think that still makes you a
Trust, isn't it?
salesman.
Yeah. That's the thing with what you people think is a typical salesman. It's like
Yeah.
sleazy, untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not about that.
Fast forward slightly, so you start working for your dad. You
Yeah,
fast
maybe, yeah, I actually started in October. And he made me work on a Saturday on my birthday.
Did it?
Yeah.
Good. You fucking deserve
Yeah.
it.
I know.
Yeah. Then so fast forward, and this is where I
Yeah.
want to kind of skip all the middle bit, because to be honest with you,
It's a boring road.
No, but it's pretty samey, right? You
Yeah,
you
yeah.
worked in the business, you grew in the business, you grew as in you learned a lot of skills. All of a sudden, you're developing a lot of state agency I don't know, skill and knowledge, networking based on the people that you're now knowing and seeing, all the standard
Yeah,
stuff.
I've pretty much done every job you can do
Exactly,
in
right?
that role,
Because
yeah.
it's your dad's company, and you've all due respect, regardless of whether it's nice to know it or not, or nice to be said out loud or not, you have a sort of natural ease into the company. Whereas any other place you're interviewing, you're going in the first day, you're taking your pencil case and sitting down and going, right, what do you want me to do? Whereas with your dad, even though you still have that,
Yeah,
over the years.
On the flip side, when I first started, I think I was more probably anxious about starting to work in there than I was for someone else.
Yeah, of course. But over the years, when you gain your comfort, this is what I'm talking
Yeah, you
about.
grow into it,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're going to grow into that role, and then you've got more leverage on, like something needs to be done. Someone's dropped the ball, or someone's left, and you're like, all right, I'm going to have to pick up that. Whereas another employee's like, no, you pay me to do this, and I leave and go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I wear my sales hat. And
Yeah.
that's it.
This is my job. You pay me to be a salesman. I do sales and leave. Whereas
Yeah.
you, it's like, i.e., someone's just left because they're not with us anymore, got sacked, whatever.
Sounds like they died.
No, left.
Christ.
No,
Right.
left the fucking job. No. Yeah, so left the job, obviously isn't with us anymore, and then all of a sudden, oh, fuck, that role needs to be semi-filled.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get someone. Jack, you've seen him doing 20 times. Do you
Yeah.
mind if you jump
Can
in
you
on
fit
that?
it in? Yeah.
Exactly, right? So, you've kind of got now a huge grown knowledge of the business. Explain your role now, because I think this is important. This is why I wanted to do this podcast. This is what I find incredibly important. This is what I want to develop on. This is where I think it's going to teach, inspire, and stuff like that.
So now I look after the full accountancy of the company.
Yeah.
So day-to-day trading accounts. I deal with the operational side of things, the innovation side of things, the growth, acquisitions,
Yeah.
the management of most of the offices or all the offices.
Yeah.
The day-to-day phone call taking, email taking, everything else that you would expect as a day-to-day journey in work,
Yeah.
with everything else on
But
top of it.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? You grew into that role where, like, all of a sudden, you can do those roles because you're there. There's fucking hell. Since I've known you, it's like how many people have come and gone through.
Ah, God knows.
Loads, right?
Yeah, loads.
Not in a bad way either. Not all in a bad way. Some in a bad
Listen,
way.
people come and go, yeah.
Yeah.
Some in a bad way, yeah. Yeah, but people come and go. That's
People come and go,
standards.
innit?
Yeah.
They either develop, get new jobs, or just go, fuck this, I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? It's just how
Yeah.
business works. And obviously, you've been there you've been there all that time. You've managed to develop upon those skills, watched other people do their jobs, watched them do them good or bad,
Yeah.
and been like, yeah, I can either do that better, or this is where I think that they were doing a good job, and therefore I need to reflect what they were doing. So the position that you're in now is really a summary of a huge amount of learning that you did.
Yeah,
There's no
for
way
sure.
that you could have stepped straight into that.
No, no.
The role that you do now isn't employable. Like, you couldn't go out right now and employ for your role and have someone take it on to the extent
love
that you
to.
take it. I know, but
I'd
you
love
can't.
to, 'cause I'm so tired.
You can't. But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they just wouldn't have the experience and the knowledge. And even if they had the experience and the knowledge at another company, every company's different. Every person's different. Your dad's a different guy to work with. You're
Yeah.
a different guy to
Yeah,
work
yeah,
with. The
yeah.
team's different. The location's different. So all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you
I
can't
think-
just jump in and handle that.
I think I'm emotionally invested into it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like most anything that I do, I will normally, I don't know, I'm not going to do it unless I can give it 110%. But I'll emotionally attach myself to it,
Yeah.
and I think you can't hire someone to be emotionally attached.
No.
Very, very.
No, you
difficult
can't.
for
It
someone.
has to be your business, your family business, or there has to be some sort of actual investment.
attachment to it. Yeah,
I.e., if I gave an employee fucking 10% of my company, all of a sudden it's a different.
you would
it's a
expect them
different
to change
story.
the way they're working.
Completely different
Yeah.
story. They're all
Yeah.
of a sudden every day, everything that they do is all of a sudden affecting the actual outcome of the business, and affecting their pocket. That's the bit that matters,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So, I don't want to put this in a offensive way, because it's not intended to be offensive, but I want to put this in the correct way. How do I say this? There were aspects of the business that needed tidying up.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
isn't all
100%.
down to you. I'm not laying this
Yeah.
all on you. I'm going to make you sound like a fucking superhero by accident. But you're not. Sorry. No, it's all right. Don't worry about it. No, you know what I'm saying. Like there were certain aspects of the business that need to be changed. They weren't all down to you, but there were a large amount of aspects that you did change, and one of them was the financial side of things. I personally feel. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, people disagree.
Yep.
I don't know how to say this. I'm so stuck. But there were certain financial aspects. I'll give you an example. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I can say this. I'm sure I can cut this out.
Yeah, go on.
So, for example, when you first sat down in the role that you're currently in, you kind of sat there and was like, "We're spending too much money."
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough
Yeah,
to say. We're
yeah.
spending too much money in certain
But that
areas.
was like the
of
type of
business.
person that's like, we need a new pen. And he's
Yeah.
like, buy 5,000 of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's your
what
dad,
he's like.
right?
That's it.
And
I love him, and that's what he's like.
Mate,
Yeah,
I love
he's-
your dad, and
yeah.
it's the thing. It's not an offence against your dad at all. This is what I struggle with, right? I find that I'm running in so many different directions that when I'm sprinting towards a certain goal, the others get left behind.
Yeah.
So your dad is sprinting towards these certain goals and aspects of the business that need his attention more than others. His business is so big now that all of a sudden, oh shit, I can't take care of the other things.
Yeah.
So he hires other people to take care of those things, but we come back to that issue of actually some of those people aren't as invested in the business as they
Correct.
as they ever will be, like you guys, because
is
it's not their
understandable.
fucking business,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So they do the job to the best of their ability ish and do it to
On the hours of 9 to 5, and then go home.
and then go home, or they do it to not the best of their ability, but the 100% that they will ever give to that role.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, your dad's been sprinting for that goal, and all the other things are left behind and kind of semi-touched and done.
Yep.
So for you, when you came along, you sat there and you went, "We're spending too much money." Obviously, with an estate agency, there's certain aspects. Like, can we give them a bit of an example into? Because I think this is really insane. So me as a home buyer,
Yes.
I go online, I search for houses, I Google houses for sale in my area,
Yep.
top search all the time, Rightmove. I was blown away at how much an estate agency spends on Rightmove to be a part of Rightmove.
Don't even go there. Yeah,
Like,
ridiculous.
and to, so, like that alone is a huge expense depending on how many advertisements you're having through them, where you're, what is it like, where you're ranking? Is that the right way to say it? Or
in regards to what you spend with them.
yeah.
Or, no,
What's the so if I'm an agency spending £3,000, like, and I mean as in some people will be like, what, £3,000? Like, I mean as in you could mostly spend
yeah, that's
anywhere
like,
between like
very bottom end.
the bottom end,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So you could spend anywhere from like £3,000 to what, like £20,000 a month with
Um,
Rightmove.
Yeah, and there's a local agent to here, and they spend, it's over $500,000 a year.
Insane
Rightmove.
with Rightmove,
Yeah.
just to have the
Just to
properties on
list
there.
properties on there.
So is it
yeah.
all done on how many properties you're listing?
No, it's
or
per office. It's per branch.
per branch?
So you have to pay a subscription fee per branch,
I know.
and
who
then
you're
there's like a
talking about.
base entry.
Yeah,
They might have changed it now, but that base entry never used to even get you branding.
madness.
So it's literally just put stock on the website. But
Yeah.
they have an unbelievable business.
Yeah,
I think per
according to market.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure somewhere like in it might be that in just in this country or in Europe, per employee they have for income is like one of the highest. It's like the lowest amount of employees to income.
Oh really?
Yeah, the ratio is mad.
I did not know that.
yeah,
Where are they
yeah,
based? Are they UK based or are they?
Yeah, they're in West London, I think.
Oh, so it's a UK
Yeah,
built company.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's for the UK property market.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was, like when you hear about the things like built for the UK, but oh yeah, they're in Sweden,
Yeah.
like for obvious fucking reason, or like
Or
or Switzerland. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
no,
if it
they
was-
are. They are.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure they. You know,
So, reason I'm touching upon this is because you looked at the finances and you said, okay, we're spending X amount here, and we're
Yeah.
spending too much money.
I think
Like, explain your thought process. Talk for a minute, because I want you to say like how you felt when you got there and you was like, right, what do I do, or what can I do to improve?
yeah. I mean, I've always been quite good with numbers,
Yeah,
and I've always sat there and said, why do we need to? I wouldn't let anything go unless it's worth it. I'm not saying I'm tight,
yeah,
but I appreciate the value of things, and I was sitting there and we were spending like, mate, it's like, I'm sure it's 5 figures
yeah.
a month to Rightmove alone, without any other costs. But I've always said this, and he won't take offence to this if he does actually listen to it, which I'm sure he will. But
Your dad?
yeah,
Oh, he will.
most estate agents, all estate agencies, are owned by my dad-esque people.
100%.
40 to 60, 70-year-olds in that it's always been done this way and this is the way it is.
Yeah, they're old school
Which is
geezers,
cool.
isn't
And
they?
it does to a certain extent. But
Yeah.
as we discussed recently, like times are, especially because of
change.
Corona, like
Yeah.
times are changing quick. And like he used to be sold, like the Right Move reps used to come in. They used to love coming in because every time they come in, they go, just to let you know, your price has gone up.
Yeah.
But
your
if you
dad
buy
went,
this,
"All right."
yeah, and if you buy this product that's going to put your banner once every 15 times in front of a client,
Yeah.
we can get you like 25,000 impressions.
Yeah.
If you walk into someone that doesn't really understand that side, like digital side of things,
He goes, 25,000 people?
mate, oh my god, for for 200 quid a month, done.
Yeah. Completely.
And their business model is very much like, well, if you don't take it anyway, we're gonna put your price up. So, which one is it?
Mate, so I just got to say, because this is important, and I don't know, again, why I haven't mentioned this. So, I worked for you.
Yes.
I worked for the estate agency for... So, I worked in sales, hated my job, and I quit it. And I had to get myself a job to keep myself going for a bit. And that's when I worked for you guys.
Mm.
And I did, social media marketing-esque
Well, that was for
role.
moving you, wasn't it, as well?
Well, yeah, exactly, right? So, but for the, I still had your dad coming upstairs every 10 minutes and going, "Dan, do this."
Yeah,
and it was for
standard.
downstairs, right?
Yeah.
So there was two companies, basically. One was a new company, one was the one that your dad owned and run. And the second company was just going to be a spin-off of what your dad was already doing, right?
Yeah, the second company was like, it was when Purple Bricks come in.
Yeah,
And
explain
he
who they
sort
are,
of-
because otherwise no one's going to know.
Okay, well, obviously Purple Bricks were the first, not the first, but they
The
beat
biggest
themselves
boom.
up to be, yeah, the online estate agency that you didn't need a shop and you can, instead of an agency charging you 1%, they'll charge you like 1,300 quid.
Yeah,
So my dad saw that come up and was like, that's going to start making a huge dent into our
pocket,
market and
our
share,
market,
etc.
yeah.
So he sat with us and was like, look, you young boys, I think this is probably your more area to go down. So we didn't look at, we actually did do, and obviously you were part of it as well, of
Yeah.
doing an online estate agency firm and then going up to the city to get investment for it.
Yeah.
And to really grow it nationwide.
yeah,
And obviously me being the mouthpiece of everyone I was the one that had to pitch it to these big investors where, you know, one was like, I didn't realise until afterwards, it's like a billionaire.
yeah,
Absolutely shitting myself, like 21, 22 years old pitching this business.
yeah,
And we got to the point where there was a couple of people who were like going to offer us like really like fairly large
Decent
investment
funds,
sums.
yeah.
And to really scale it quick and to try and take on like Purple Bricks. And I remember getting back on the train pretty drunk
yeah.
because obviously we just
I remember
almost
seeing the videos.
yeah, mate. Yeah, terrible. Like, because obviously we'd almost secured like, you know,
Investment.
6 to 7 figure investment.
Yeah.
And I remember getting back on the train and being like, this is not us.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to go and buy a fridge for the office, you had to like, you can't just go out and buy a fridge.
Yeah.
You're controlled.
Yeah.
You have to say why this fridge is the best fridge to purchase because it's the most efficient and cost effective and will keep us going for the longer term. Madness, mate. So, yeah, we sort of walked away from that side of things, which is when you were coming on board to do all the socials and content. and
Yeah, I was
things.
doing it then anyway.
Yeah.
I was doing it then because I remember you going up London.
Yeah.
Because I come and sat at Thingy's house, didn't I, with you?
Yes, because you were going to come up with us to the meeting, wasn't you?
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
called upon like really last minute.
Yes.
And to be fair, I spoke more than your brother, so that was most probably why. Well, it was mostly best that I didn't go. Your brother fucking
Taking
sat there in
centre
silence.
stage.
So I
Yeah,
don't even
yeah.
care if he's listening. Harry, you sat there in silence.
I would have had to come up with something like, I know we don't look alike, but he is a brother as well.
Literally. No, I remember sitting around Thingy's house. No, it was only because we was all chatting. I think Harry was having an off day. He just went quiet, didn't he? Just didn't say much that day.
Mate, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
It is intimidating.
No,
yeah.
at the time it wasn't I pitched more. It was just I didn't pitch more at all. I just sat there and spoke more, and then I think it was like you're overshadowing Harry.
Yeah,
Like, I was just,
shut up.
yeah, I was just like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I talk for England. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right. So basically, where was we? So you took on this role. This is what I want to get
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you took
yeah,
on
yeah.
the role. So this is why I just wanted to say that, me obviously working for you, because then I learned a hell of a lot through you guys, and I learned a hell of a lot about a estate agency as well. That's why some of these terms when you're like, oh yeah, purple bricks, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are going to know what purple bricks are,
Yeah.
but then like the right move amounts and stuff like that, and actually knowing a little bit more about purple bricks, I learned that off you. I learned that because I kind of had to know what you were talking about all the time.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, you've come on board, realised that the finances are a bit drastic, realised that your dad, not in a bad way, but your dad has been saying yes to those right move reps. He's been sitting there going, yeah, fair play. Like, if it's going to reach 25,000 people, why not?
Yeah, like very much like old school thinking as well, to say like bums on seats,
Yeah,
staff.
Yeah.
8 people in a job role where only
mate,
really
and
one
I
or two of
will-
you are needed.
I don't give a shit. I will fully say, like, there were a fair few people sponging the fucking life out
Yeah,
of you.
yeah,
Like,
for
sitting
sure.
downstairs, you'd go downstairs and you'd be like, wicked. Like,
Yeah.
they ain't doing fuck all. Going in every day, clocking in, making money and going home.
Yeah, of course.
And your dad ain't a light payer. He pays well. Do you know what I mean? He pays
Yeah.
well for the roles of, like, at the time. Some of those fucking kids sitting there doing fuck all.
And it's not exactly like a dictatorship-esque
No.
leader either, is
No
it? It's
way.
like, oh,
No
can I
way.
go home early? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
no
Oh, really?
problem. Yeah.
Oh, any reason why? Yeah, my nan's ill. Like, oh, all right, yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, see you
Yeah,
later. See
yeah.
you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Do you want to come in tomorrow? Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries. Do you want to have the week off? Yeah, the rest of the week? Yeah, take it. No worries.
We'll
Yeah.
pay your holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. And so you kind of looked at that and scaled, not down, but scaled your bill down.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well. Like when I first sort of took over this role, we didn't even have a system. Like, there was no software.
It was very old school paperwork.
Very old, lot of paper.
Yeah.
Like every property that we looked after had 2 files.
Mental.
Full of paper. Like even like it sounds so like again, I sound like I'm really tight, but even down to like how much paper we were using.
Yeah.
Mate, do you know how much
I want-
paper costs?
I want to know that.
The
This is
paper,
things-
the ink, the
Oh, mate,
printer
the-
itself,
the ink.
mate, it's mad.
Again, if you didn't know about how much Rightmove costs, get a big printer.
Yeah, mate, then you'll find out.
My
Yeah.
God.
I tell you what, if you're thinking about what job role to get into, printer salesman.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Unreal. One, big companies need printers. Two, don't you like mortgage it?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Pay ridiculous amounts. Pay monthly.
it's
for
funny
it.
you
The
say that,
inks is
'cause
100.
I remember trying to get out of our current printer term,
Yeah.
and I called them up, and they were like, yeah, you can pay it all up. I was like, how many years have we got left on it? And I was like, let me just have a look. You've got 12 years left on this printer. I was like,
Insane.
what?
How much was it?
Oh, we're still in it now. Yeah, they was like, you can just pay it all up, and it's like 75 grand, and you can get out of it.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
Insane, isn't it? Because they still process like fucking fax machines.
mate. So the guy that does out or sold us the printer in the first place. This is why I'm saying become a printer salesman.
Yeah.
He come in the next time we were trying to get out of it, and he was like trying to negotiate us out
Yeah.
with put it this way, before he come in to sell us the printer, he didn't wear a watch.
Yeah.
The next time he come in, obviously I'm mad into watches,
Yeah.
so I clock it
Yeah.
first thing. He had a brand new
Yeah.
IWC on,
Yeah.
and man, it was
I've seen
about
Mercs in it. IWCs.
was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was about 20 grand's worth of watch. And I was like, that fucker's got that out of our printer
Yeah.
all day
Yeah.
long. Yeah,
Mate, imagine what you would have bought if you bought yourselves out as well. His 75 grand would have come early.
yeah, mate.
Mental, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's silly.
So sizing down, did you? Well, not sizing down. That's the wrong way to put it. But sizing your wage bill down a little bit because you were like, do you know what? Like, all due respect, like,
Yeah, like I said, I'm a fairly big pessimist,
yeah,
as you know. So I'll
Oh,
always
yeah, not bad.
I'll always look upon it on like, right, what's the worst case scenario?
rainy day stuff.
Always.
Yeah,
And I think it's quite a good place to be when you're either starting a business or looking at accounts of someone, or even your own accounts.
yeah,
I mean, when I'm sure we'll get onto it, but like when I bought my first place,
yeah, yeah. We were.
how constricted I was with myself.
Yeah,
Because I had a goal. It was the same as this. Like I was sitting there going, right, worst case scenario, we can never ever increase income in this business.
yeah.
So income's set.
Set where it is.
What's
done.
the
Yeah, I
only
get
other
it.
thing you can do to increase profit? Reduce your expenditure.
Yeah,
So I went through everything with a fine tooth comb.
yeah.
Everything. Like, I mean, we had like 8 cars on firm. Why? you're paying all the benefit in kinds on some of them. You're paying all the road tax for them. We were paying fleet insurance.
Yeah.
When you've got like people in the firm that are like 19, 20, 21
It's
years
a lot of
old,
money.
fleet insurance is not cheap.
No, I know. Yeah.
The monthly rental payments for them, and I'm sitting there going, we don't need that many cars.
Yeah.
We don't need this level of right move. We don't need this. What about if we scale this down, invest in other areas that can potentially grow this business,
Yeah. So you
use the money
Yeah.
that we're spending out a bit more.
So you're not
wisely.
you're not losing any money. You're just reinvesting the money.
It's
that
almost
you was
moving it
already
around.
spending.
Yeah, yeah.
You're turning over. You're making a profit. You take the money that you was already spending. You put it elsewhere and see if it works. And if it grows elsewhere, then perfect. Maybe you'll be able to scale down in other areas and blah blah blah.
Like I've put in systems that replace staff.
Yeah. And as much as that's potentially seen as a negative, I can fully understand.
Yeah,
from,
I get
from
what you
knowing
would.
you,
Yeah.
where I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Like to be honest with you, these systems are better than a staff member.
Yeah,
They're
mate,
just physically.
some of them that I have, I'd need to employ. Like the one I just recently got in, which is like which tracks client movements and the stuff like that. Mate, I'd need 3-4 members of staff full
100%.
time.
And consistent. They'd have
I
to
wouldn't
have,
even get anywhere near it.
no, and you'd have to have an Excel spreadsheet of a god to understand and get close.
Like,
to
I'm all right
tracking.
around an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, like you can
Imagine
get
trying
anywhere
to
near it.
trying to remember all those people. And that there wouldn't be a
Impossible.
way to do it.
It's
It'd be
impossible.
impossible. And this is why I got you on. Obviously, I'm sure some people might be listening or watching and thinking this is a really random one. Like,
Which is what I said to you. Yeah.
No, but it is. But then again, right? Okay, so let me track back, right? So, first guest, as an example, Jamie FYD, YouTuber, 150,000 subs, more now, most probably, 150 something thousand subs on YouTube. Went from a job that he didn't like into doing YouTube full time. Like, that's hard. Like that's fucking hard. Like he's having to negotiate. Or he's mostly being approached for like essentially like influencer deals, advertising deals. Like we were talking about TGE the other day.
Yes.
Yesterday, right? Or yesterday or this morning? No, yesterday, last night.
Yeah.
So TGE, a car YouTuber. I'm sure. Again, a lot of people listening to this most probably know who it is. Like himself. Like was just like.
Mate, smashing
How's this motherfucker doing
Smashing
this?
it.
Right? But this isn't in a negative way. It's just more of a, Jesus Christ, boy. Like, you're fucking
Yeah,
killing something.
we're
like,
very similar in that aspect where we're not like, we won't look at anyone and be like,
oh, fuck this guy.
bastard.
No. Yeah.
I look
no.
upon it and go, bastard, how do I do that?
I'm always intrigued
Yeah.
about how people are doing it.
Yeah,
Like, when
yeah,
I
yeah.
sat down with Jamie, it wasn't like, I did, like, off camera, I think, I'm sure. I said to him, like, I asked him a question, and he said, I know what you're going to ask. I said, what is it? How much do I make off YouTube? And I said, to be honest with you, I wasn't, but go on, tell me anyway. And he told me, and I was like, oh shit, like it's not actually that much. Like, oh, don't get me wrong, like it's enough. But I was like, fuck, like I don't know. It's one of them situations, isn't it? You just it could be enough, it might not be enough, especially for lifestyles, depending on what you live in. And then I turned around and said, okay, like. So this geezer's got to be hustling other areas. So he's got to be hustling day to day on other things, i.e. advertising and all that stuff, which is going to bring him in that income. And then I sat down with Dan from Killer Wipers, inspirational guy to me, like really is. Like built a business off of a really insane. I like concepts. Like I'm sure back in the day, the internet was a concept. So I went, nah, shit, that'll never work. Ta-da. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all these things. Like someone mostly did it for radio and TV. Someone mostly, and don't get me wrong, they're huge mainstream examples, but there's little innovative things that are out there that are like, I don't know, like cup holders in cars. I'm sure that was an innovation. And someone went, who wants to drink in their car while they're driving? And it was the
said
same
something
shit.
along those lines in a meeting we had the other day, because I'm really pushing at the moment to grow. I'm trying to get the business to go down different areas.
Yeah.
And I've really had to sell it to everyone to get everyone on board. And someone come back and went, no one else is doing that. No, just because no one else is doing it doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. Completely, mate.
Someone's got to do it in the first place,
Yeah.
the first time round, right?
Yeah, exactly, mate. It's like this. So with Dan, like, don't get me wrong. If you've listened to the podcast, wicked, I appreciate it. Most of you again might know what Killer Wipers is. Make sure you listen to it. Like, he took an idea, a concept, like the wiper bung deletes, turned it into a business.
Yeah,
now
it's sick. I've seen it. It's sick.
Yeah, now he hustles every day. Like he hustles every day to keep his money going, keep his family alive, like food, watered, fed, like, do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And it intrigues the fuck out of me because I'm sitting there going, not how do you do it? Like, how do you do it? What the fuck are you doing that I'm not? It's more like, that's sick. Like, tell me how you've done that.
Yeah.
Like, it's if I saw a painting and it was like, do you know what I mean? Like,
It's not a negative, jealous
no, it's like
where you're coming from. It's
not, and sometimes it's not even a I want to know so that I can do it. It's just more of a I am hugely intrigued by how people manage to manage to do certain things. Like, I'm sure I'd sit down with Usain Bolt and be like, how are you training your body to do 100-meter sprints in the time that you're doing? Like, I would, don't get me wrong, you're a lanky fuck and your legs are long as shit, but I would also sit there and be like, what's the secret? Like, what have you done that others haven't, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I ain't ever going to run the 100-meter sprint in that time, but what are you doing? So it's the same with you, right? This is why I got you on, because where I try to make the podcast about business and like just inspiring people or nailing concepts that might be hard for others to understand how they did it, i.e. how do you start a business, how do you become a YouTuber, how do you do these things? For me, with you and the business in general, like even like your dad, obviously I've got you sitting here, like the just how the come up was. The one thing that I find amazing is your ability to handle your ability to handle the finances to get yourself to where you are, not just in work. But the reason I've gone down that route first is because obviously we can lead on to the properties that the houses that you've owned,
personal side of things.
Yeah, right. So that sort of stuff I want to go into, but it's so sick because there was one thing that I never understood until I had my own business, and that was money management. I worked jobs that were decent wage, mate. Like I worked, don't get me wrong, back in the days from the beginning, Morrison's minimum wage stuff was taking £500 a month or whatever it was, and £500 a month was going out. And I was getting to the end of the month realising, fuck, I've got no money, can't wait till payday.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big spender. Like, I've never have been either. I've never had the most lavish clothes, the most lavish shit. Like, I've never done that. It's my big job before I started working for myself was the sales job that I had. Again, mate, there were months where like I took I was on about £1,600 a month after tax, and then there was a month or 2 months in a row where I took £3,500 in commission after tax on top of my wage. Where the fuck did it go? Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you, right? Because I didn't understand money management. It was, this is the amount of money that you get, and I was like, wicked. I get to spend this until my next payday.
Living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. So I wasn't going out and necessarily splashing, but I knew I had the money there to do certain things. I'd also got myself, like, I bought a car, so I paid out on that. Fucking biggest regret ever. And that again, like, was a learning curve for me. But that again was like a way of me going, I have X amount of money. I didn't have it all even. I borrowed some off of my girlfriend's mum. So like again, I was like, I need. I didn't ask her either. She was just like, look, you want that car, and it wasn't expensive. I borrowed 1,000, 2,000. No, I might have borrowed more. But I borrowed an adequate amount of money, and I was just like, thank you, I'll pay you back. I knew I could pay her back because I knew how much I was getting.
Yeah.
Paid that back over time, etc. But then it wasn't until I got my own company, my own business, where I sat down and I was like, right, I'll give you an example this month. So I've just sold X amount of product. That X amount of product has brought me in X amount of money. I've got that money sitting there. However, I've got a bill for Royal Mail. I've got a big tax bill coming out. I've got VAT the month after. Right? So
people don't see that side of
no,
things.
right?
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, yeah, but they're like they're like your normal bills, right? They're like your, like if you were living alone, mortgage, electricity, and it's like, no, it's not the same. There's something about it which makes it completely different. Now, I sit in a role every day where one day I'd like to be big enough where someone does that shit for me. And don't get me wrong, I've got the fucking accountant now, right? So the accountant assists me.
You're welcome.
I know. Jack gave me my accountant. Right, no, but still, right? So again, it's not one of those situations where like he's not money advising me. He's just helping me with some things that I don't understand yet, right? But it wasn't until I got into that position where I was like, I need to figure out how to handle my money better. So now, let's say, for argument's sake, and these are random round numbers. I know for a fact that like if I brought in £10,000 into the business, I'm like, okay, so I've got 10,000. I've got 2,000 outgoings here. I've got rent to pay. That's another 1,000. I've got XYZ to pay. That's another £1,000, £2,000. And then I sit back with my £3,000 worth of profit. And before that was, that's my monthly wage. But not knowing how much I'm going to earn the month after makes me go, that's not my monthly wage, because this might have to last me for the next fucking 6 months. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So now I go, okay, cool. I'm going to take 2,000 of that, put it in a savers account. The other 1,000 will be my safety blanket and the fucking takeaway that I fancy on Saturday with my girlfriend, right? And then all of a sudden the month after happens and it's the same thing again. The 10,000 comes in, the splits go everywhere, and then I save the money. And then I've got like a little pot of like fucking £10,000 that I've saved over the last 12 months, and all of a sudden, high tax bill. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, fucking great. All of a sudden, 8,000 that's gone on tax, and oh fuck, I only made £2,000 this year. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, that's a very argument's sake. But what you did was you went into a business, you played the roles all these years, you learnt, and now your latest role that you fell into, that you've kind of come into by choice or by accident, regardless, is now this financial role. And I wanted to put you on the podcast because I thought to myself, this is so important for people to understand and learn. Stop viewing a monthly amount of income that you bring in as the amount that you have to spend, or the amount of...
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, not everyone's privileged, right? So you might have a lot of people out there that have got kids. So they're paying all these things out, and then all of a sudden all their money's gone every month. But like, side hustles and stuff could earn you more. Obviously, we can argue about that another day. Mate, this Disaronno and Coke's fucking me up. I'm like hiccuping.
Mate, you've only had one.
I know. No, I'm like hiccuping.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you could have certain things which are going to set you back. You can have. You get the point I'm making.
It's life. Yeah.
It's life, right? But if if someone that was working a normal daily job had not had a mentality like it's different, but managed to have that I account for a business mentality, they'd have more money. That's the way I view it.
I think the reason, not that I've done so well in this role, blowing my own trumpet,
but it's not about
but
that.
the reason I think this, on that management side, I've always been fairly good with my own.
Yes, and that's going to lead me on to what you're going to tell me about.
And that's always been, I think it's just naturally drilled in me.
Yeah.
Because as we've already said, like my old man will spend money for the sake of spending it sometimes.
Of course.
on
I think
random
sometimes,
stuff.
yeah, you've got to make up for the stuff that your dad's gone out. Like, he's not spending like on shit.
Yeah, don't get me
like,
wrong. Yeah, we're not talking like
your dad's like sometimes will expend slightly more on something that he didn't necessarily need. Like, I mean, as in like for the business, like 500 pence example. He needed 1 pen. He bought 500 just in case. So that like £100 that he bought the 500.
There was probably a deal on it or something.
Yeah,
he got sold by the big red deal. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, like, you need to not make that money up, but you need to make sure that money comes back in other areas. Or do you know what I mean? That's how I would assume little things that you might have done previously, or you've definitely done that before for your dad.
Yeah. That's I think it, for me personally, genuinely started when I was like when I got into that first job.
Yeah.
I had a plan and a goal.
Yeah.
Which was, I wanted to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
I didn't want any help.
You had big shoes to fill, though, mate.
Yeah. And I think everyone looks upon it on the outside and goes, oh, Danny's giving him this and Danny's giving and people still to this day don't believe me when I say, like, I've never actually had a penny. like I've never been like, oh, Daddy, I really want this car, and he goes, okay, there you are, there's the money for it. Like, it's never ever been like that. Like, it's always, you earn it yourself.
Yeah.
And I think my goal was to always, I wanted to buy a property. That was it. I just wanted my own flat or my own house, and I wanted to do it saying that I done it.
Yeah, of course.
And no one else gave me any money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So go over how because you did that, right?
Yes.
So you're in the fashion industry job.
Yes.
You earn £1,000 a month.
Minus my train ticket.
Yeah, minus your train ticket, but you get the point, right? So you're earning your however much a month that actually fucking ends up in your pocket.
Yeah.
How much did you save over a period of time with like with also taking into consideration the odd bit of like birthday money? I'm sure you put away.
Like, I used to put even birthday money away.
Rihanna does.
Yeah.
My girlfriend does, right?
Yeah.
So she's sick at it. Puts away money like you can't fucking believe. She has and don't take this the wrong way, she has the most money for the littlest earner that I know. So that might not necessarily be the most amount of money, but I mean as in she has
On a wage
good
ratio.
amount of money on a
Yeah.
wage ratio to the amount that she earns,
Yeah.
I'm like,
How?
and it's always been like that. And I'm like, how are you doing that? She has expenses just like everyone else.
Yeah.
She's paying for everything that she needs to pay for, and I'm like, how?
She's very clearly money laundering, mate.
Don't say
And I would probably at the HMRC on this point.
oh my god.
Imagine like the head of the HMRC actually listens to your
Oh
podcast.
my god,
Yeah.
it'd be amazing. Can you do me a favour? Fucking lower the tax bracket or something.
Yeah, mate.
Anyway, yeah, okay. So you save as much money as you can. Explain like, so your mentality was, I want a property.
Yeah.
And as well, obviously stemmed from your dad. Your dad's got a lot of knowledge. You've seen your dad be doing that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily stem like as in, I want what daddy's got. I mean, as in stem from your dad, as in, I don't know about property at that time because none of my family do it. So your family does it. You know more about it.
But like, don't get me wrong, like, I wasn't a fucking guru at it. Like,
No,
I just had an
no.
idea that, you know,
Yeah.
property seemed to be everyone you always used to speak to, like even the guy I used to work for, owned property. Everyone and I think you get this idea that anyone that's done fairly well for themselves, it might be like an older type thing. But
Yeah.
everyone that's done well for themselves is involved in property at some point. Like
Or, or they've
kind-
got like they have their business, but they've got a portfolio
on the side.
of,
Yeah.
of a load of...
because as you know, like this country is built on the property market. Like there's no other. You touch on it in America in a few different
in
like
some
cities.
states,
But there's no real market like it is here.
Yeah.
Most people will have their assets tied up in a house
yeah,
or two. So it was always like looking at as we go back to like, I've never looked at anyone who's done very well for himself and gone, you fucking bastard. Like
Yeah.
I've always looked at them going, right, let me take certain aspects of how you've got there,
yeah,
and I can try and do
Translate
it,
into
yeah,
my own
to what I
life.
need to do.
yeah,
So yeah, it took me about 2.5 years on that wage
yeah,
to save for my deposit. But I mean, like it was, I used to bulk cook my lunches on a
Yeah.
Sunday, so that I didn't go down the cafe and buy lunch.
yeah.
I'd like, I mean, imagine buying lunch every day
In London,
in London.
mate,
Yeah,
I bought lunch every day in fucking Bromley, and
Mate,
it
it's
was
a killer.
joke.
It's a
mate.
killer.
It's a joke.
Um,
And I was so, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, but I think the cafe that used to charge me an absolute fortune is closing down because of COVID. And I
Wow.
thought to myself, that's ironic because all of your shit was double the fucking price of anywhere else. But yeah, you counted the pennies purposely.
Yeah, to the pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds really fucking sad, but I had a plan,
Yeah.
and that was the only way I was ever going to get there.
Yeah.
Like, I used to go to work with like even my mum will back this. I used to go to work with t-shirts, and there'd be like a hole in my t-shirt, and she'd be like, "Well, you just fucking buy some new clothes, like
Yeah.
stop going to work with clothes with holes in." And I was like, "But a new t-shirt's going to cost me 25 quid.
Yeah.
That's 25 quid I'm never going to see again." Like there was always methods to my madness. It might be too mad, but
No, I don't think it is. I think I reached that mentality after you. I reached that mentality quite a lot after you, to be fair. Because obviously, you're 17, 18 at the time for this role.
yeah,
I went uni. So I come out at 21. Don't get me wrong. And don't for a second anyone listening to this or watching this think, I went uni, spunked his money. I was the richest fucking uni student you knew. And that wasn't because I was getting handed anything. I got every grant under the sun. That all went on loan. That all went on rent, sorry, and my course. And then every other penny that I earned went in my pocket for the nights out and all the stuff that I was doing. And yeah, I worked like fucking 4 jobs at the same time at uni. But I didn't have that safe mentality. I had
mate, you were at
money
uni
to
living it
live.
up, mate.
Yeah, I was living. I was
Yeah.
living. But I learnt that in the last 3 years, most probably, because maybe longer, maybe 4 years. But I learnt that in the last 3 to 4 years because of the situation that I put myself into. Where I was like,
Yeah,
I'm going to quit my job and do this instead. Do Broke Boys full time.
yeah,
So yeah, there was. It's really hard because I forget them now. I forget those days. But there was times where Rihanna would be like, "Oh, shall we do this? Shall we do that at the weekend?" I'm like, "No, like, babe, I can't. I've got to say, or I'd say I've got no money."
yeah, mate. We used to all the time sit indoors on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Everyone else is going out getting pissed,
yeah,
and I said they'd be like, "Just not this week. We'll go next week."
yeah,
And then it gets next week, I'd be like,
Just not this week.
Not this weekend, next weekend."
yeah,
And then, but mate, I said it was a means to an end. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it would get me I'd get there eventually.
Yeah.
And the harder I went earlier, the quicker I would get there.
Yeah.
And then, it never gets easier, but potentially it would get a little bit easier as the time goes on.
No, I get that. I understand that. I was gonna say something just a minute ago, I forgot. But I get it now. I didn't get it for a very long time. Now I fully get it. Now I fully get it, mate. Like, if I hadn't have saved and budgeted's a word we haven't used yet, and I think that's sick for what is, and again, another reason why I've asked for you to do this, because like budgeting is, well, really what you've been good at for a very long time.
Yeah.
Maybe not like slaying, but like, I mean, as in you've been reasonably good at it, right? But yeah, budgeting is the reason why I've got like my unit now and all of that stuff. And don't get me wrong, like that could all flop tomorrow. I could run out of money for rent and have to leave, and do you know what I mean? It could all fall through the floor. It's not necessarily like property assets or money assets I've got in the bank yet, but I've been tearing myself up for a while. Like, and that again is like what I want people to listen to, and people to sit there and be like, yeah, do you know what? That's actually quite sick. Actually, I rate that. I want to have a go at that sort of thing. I want to see if I can do that too. Explain. So you saved up your money for your first property.
Correct.
You get that.
Yes.
Years on, regardless, you've then since bought again.
Yeah.
I can mention this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've then since.
Well, there's been a few times. There's been a few purchases.
Yeah. How many has there been? Well, no. Oh, yeah. So you're on the third, right?
Well, no, I've done about like flips, like actual developments.
I mean, just you, not with your dad.
Oh, as in personally owned.
Just you, personally owned. It is yours. You're on 3, right? Because you had the first one.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Okay, then you had the second, which was
The house,
and then the third, which is Shortlands.
which is
Okay, cool. But okay. So you've invested with with other people.
Yeah. So personally owned, 3.
Yeah.
But I've invested in others.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
How easy did it become after you'd done the first one? Because I feel I'm not saying it's easy, right? But I feel like when you get into the flow of things, and when you first get past that first hurdle, the first hurdle, it owns fear and
it's the unknowing.
It's unknown. You've never done this. It's a fucking risk. All these things add up, right? So by the time you actually surpassed that first hurdle, got all of those things out of the way, even though the second still has fear involved, it's like less fear because you know that the first one was
just a repeat. Yeah.
Okay,
I've been here before.
Yeah. It's like blueprint, right? So
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I know how to do that now. So how easy did it get after, or not easy, but how much easier did it get after the first one, or did it? I mean, I could be chatting shit.
I don't think investment game. I don't think in any capacity ever gets easier, but
Are you talking from a mentality sense, easier, or do you mean a financial sense?
a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
A bit of both. But yeah, after doing that first one, so I went into that first purchase very green.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah.
I just knew that this was the price. This is how much I had to put down. I have no idea whether the rate I was getting on a mortgage was any good.
Yeah.
I had no idea whether the product was any good.
You blagged good game to me, mate.
What's that?
You blagged good game to me.
Yeah, mate, trust me. I'm an estate agent. What do you think? So
I love it.
yeah, it's such a minefield.
Yeah.
And at 19 years old,
Yeah.
you think you know everything. You know fuck all.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And delving into that world was, because again, I like to do things on my own. So I didn't want to keep asking, oh my, what does this mean? I want to find out on my own.
Yeah.
And it was daunting.
Yeah, of course.
Very,
I get
very
that.
daunting.
I understand that. It's like fucking me with my events, mate. So it might be a bit more translatable to the audience, again, the events. Like, first, anyone that's looking to do an event, as an example, because we got a hell of a lot of followers that are like, I want to do something similar to what Broke Boys is doing.
Yeah.
And like, as an example, like the first time I ever did an event, like technically, like I blagged my way through that shit so well.
I mean, I blag my way through it on a daily basis.
Yeah. I blagged my way through that so well. And if someone said to me, like, oh, do you know what you're doing? I'll be like, yeah, 100%, because I've got this, and this. But then, like, now I look back at it, I'm like, fuck it, hell. I didn't have anything I should have had.
Yeah.
Like, I did not do that. Well, don't get me wrong. And it wasn't of a size that, but again, it more translatable to my audience. But like you said,
Yeah, but again, I'm sure most people, it's looked upon in this country that you have to be a property owner.
most people will own at some
Yeah,
point.
and so I imagine most people will
yeah.
want
Yeah.
to at some point
Yeah.
purchase their own house. And that's from a very young age. That's what we're led to believe is the be all
way
and end all
forward.
and the dream.
Societal values,
100%,
like
yeah.
society's.
Whereas you go anywhere in Europe, it's the other way around, mate. Like,
France.
yeah, for owning a house in France, they're like, qu'est-ce que c'est? Like,
Yeah, I had a kid.
what?
I had a kid that was going to buy a car off me a couple of years ago. Lived in France, was getting his finances together. They still do. I think it's like property on a handshake. Like, and
Yeah,
Um,
and that's it's like legally binding once.
yeah,
it's done the
yeah,
handshake.
yeah. And they have.
I had a French vendor actually very quickly
Yeah,
years ago. He coolest man I've ever met.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he was in the army,
Okay.
but
Staying in.
but
Yeah. Okay.
proper.
Yeah.
And we got his house under offer, and they pulled out, and he couldn't understand it. He could not
because
understand that you could
the
just
English
walk away.
market here, literally, you can shit
Yeah,
on
walk
someone
mate,
right until the last
walk
day.
away at any point.
Yeah.
Until those contracts are exchanged,
Yeah.
mate, you can do whatever you want to do.
Mental, isn't it?
Whereas in France, when he's bought and sold before,
Yeah.
he'd like shake Jean-Pierre's hand, and and that
you stereotypical.
and that was it, mate. Done. You
Mental.
can't pull out then. Yeah, mate. He didn't get it. Did not get it. He was fuming.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Was he mad at you or mad at the vendor?
It was more mad at like the system. Like,
Sister, okay, no, that's
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah,
I'm mad at the
I wouldn't
system
want
on a
him to be
daily
mad at
basis.
me.
January is the month that I'm most mad at the system.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, okay, so where can we? So you, the reason why I asked if it was easier, I'll give you an example. Again, translatable to me, I like to do that. Otherwise, do you know what I mean? If it's just all one side, it might be harder for people to understand. When I first started Broke Boys, buying £200 of stock was hard. So fuck, I got expensive £200
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stock.
yeah, yeah.
Then my first show, second show, might have been third show, 2019 show, I think actually. We did.
Was that at
Yeah, the
with
one
the
you were at.
camping?
Yeah, actually, again, we got to state this in
Yeah,
a minute.
yeah.
All right. So
for anyone that was camping?
yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes so much sense.
Yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
I said to Jack before I started this, like, I haven't prepared. I was just like, because this was like random. I'm going to come over quick and get this done.
I mean, on a daily basis, we normally chat shit to each other for a couple of hours anyway.
yeah, exactly.
So this is nothing new.
Yeah, that's why I literally got a landline at the bar the other day just to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get signal. What was I saying? Oh, expensing, right? So
We were talking about the bar, but
broke was at the broke was at the farm. Third year, 2019. I think God, I'm gonna say it out loud. Fuck it, I don't care. My expense on all of my product at the time was like anywhere between £3,500 to £4,500. Right?
Mm.
That hurt a lot.
yeah, of course.
But it was easier than the £200 that I spent.
Yeah.
Right? Then
Yeah.
recently I've just done again. This isn't like a flex because like this is nothing, right? But recently I've done just over 10 grand in stock,
Yeah.
and that was on one purchase. That was my one big huge purchase that I had recently. This is when I invested in all of our hoodies, tracksuit bottoms, and a load of other bits as well. 10.5 grand. That was easier to spend than the 3.5.
Mm.
So this is what I'm saying. Even though they're
Was it
big-
easier to spend the money on the bar stuff?
right,
Because you
listen.
paid me fuck all.
Listen, okay? You were always getting fuck all, you rich bastard, all right?
be fair,
you're not going
I-
to sit here
I-
and tell me about
no.
your fucking gaffes and then ask me for fucking money.
I mean, I drunk my worth
Thank you. Right, listen.
in your
so
alcohol.
the reason why
so-
some of you might... If you're, okay, so obviously you could be listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you can be watching it on YouTube. The reason why, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you might recognise Jack, he's got his hat quite low, to be fair to him. The reason why you might recognise Jack is because, long story short, he has a lady that works for him, young girl,
Yeah.
called Katie, and Katie used to work in a bar. Now, I started work for Jack a couple of years ago. Worked for him worked for his dad. Fuck you, I don't work for you. Worked for your dad. I worked for you for a year
I
or
wasn't
whatever it
gonna
was.
say it, so.
A year, I think.
Yeah.
Then then after that job was when I went full time with Broke Boys, nothing else. Anyway, so we interviewed Katie, which still makes me laugh because I said to her, like, what do you want to do in 5 years? Something like, wasn't it? Like, it was something really funny.
I think I was literally just sitting there having a general conversation, and you went, so what do you want to do in 5 years?
Yeah.
Where'd you see yourself?
Because
it
was funny, because you turned around to me, you was like, all right then. In the interview, I was like, no, like, I'm actually... And it was a good fucking question.
It was a good question,
because now we know a lot more about it than we did at the time.
Yeah.
This was, at the time, I was like, I fucking told you. So, obviously, we interviewed Katie. Katie started working there. She had a weekend job. Before she was working for you, she worked in a pub.
Correct.
And she had a portable licence.
Indeed.
So then, obviously, again, this is sick. So the finances side of things, when you were like, right, if I only make X amount of money through the business, how do I delete my expenditure and outgoings to kind of make that margin bigger? For me, for Broke Boys at the Farm, it was, right, I know that I'm only going to really take in a certain amount of people based on my marketing spend that I've done. If it all goes well, the weather's good and everything, which it was.
I remember you shitting yourself for a week
I get
lead
stressed.
up to that. Jesus Christ.
Right, so obviously I'm...
Daily basis, you just send me screenshots of fucking Apple weather.
Yeah, Apple weather.
Like, it's raining.
Apple weather, BBC weather. Do you know how many apps there are that I know them all. Right, so...
And then it turned out to be like 40 degrees on the day.
It was 36 degrees, hottest day of the year.
Yeah, and you put me in a horse box with no aircon.
Aircon? Fuck off. Right.
Actually, I brought my own fan, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so I sat down and I said to myself, how the fuck am I going to make more money? So I said, you know what I'm going to do? And I like a project.
Slave labour.
I'm going to buy a horse box, turn it into a bar, and when we do camping, I'll own the bar.
Yeah.
And another reason why I own the bar is because drinks traders are wankers. Like, there is
fair.
no fucking other way to put it. They are just... I struggle with food vendors. I have done for years. I've got some nice ones now, which I'm not gonna slag off. They're brilliant. The ones that I've managed to get, and now... But do you know how fucking many people I had to go through to get these two that I've managed to claim, and they're just lovely. And so if Roger is listening to this, Roger, mate, I love you. But like, as an example, they were the hardest fucking group of people to work with. And I thought, I ain't fucking stressing with a bar. I'm having my own. So I go Costco, I buy a shit ton of booze. I buy a horse box for 850 quid. Plain as day horse box. I absolutely ripped the woman off, to be fair to you. She was like, see, I put it up for 850 quid and I've had so much interest. I said, yeah, because it's fucking cheap. And I went, really? I said, well...
Surprising, because it's a bit expensive.
Yeah, I said, honestly, you've priced it right. Because I was just blagging her at the time. I'm there like, fucking hook it up and let's go. I drove the horse box 2 hours, and don't ever do this with no fucking trailer license. But fair. Prove it, bitch.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, I need to fucking get this because it's going to go and I'm going to miss it. Got this horse box, put a couple of £100 into it, and transformed it into the bar. The biggest thing that I spent on was the fucking fridge. Anyway, hooked up electrics, all done. Katie, yeah, will you be the person that runs my bar for me, please? Why? Because you've got a portable license and I love you. Okay, all right then. I'll pay you in alcohol. Okay, that's fine. I'll do it. That's fine. Right. So she's
you should have opened with that.
Yeah,
really,
yeah. Like the minute I said I'll pay you in booze, but actually I did say to her I'd give her money. But in my defence, and I said I'd fucking pay her 1,000,000 times, she come back at me. No, and you know what she's like. She was persistent as fuck. No, you're not paying me. I said, okay, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will pay you. I was saying other ways. Hang on, yeah. So I'm in Malta. This is my holiday after the farm. I'm in Malta and I ring you lot. You're with Katie, and I said, she said, I want to speak Spanish or some shit, and I said, I'll pay you in Spanish lessons. That was, when was that? That was July, August time it might have been August or even September.
Yeah, probably.
Of 2019. So by the time we got around to March, we was already in COVID. Had I seen you really
fucking well done, mate.
Huh?
Great excuse.
Fuck you.
Why is everyone hiding behind COVID at the moment?
Because
everything?
It's a great way to get out.
It's a great way to get out, isn't it?
But yeah, anyway, long story short, I also roped in Jack. I was like, Jack, break, do you want to fucking come do the bar? And he was just like, oh yeah, it sounds a good idea. I'll do that. And he was like, I said, I'll pay you. He was like, no, I don't expect money. I said, to be fair, I wasn't going to fucking pay you anyway.
Yeah.
We're too far in the friendship now for me to even fucking consider paying you. You owe me. And then I said, yeah, you can... Well, my words were, here's the booze. Here's how it all goes. This is how much prices are. Perfect. Don't say anything about that either.
I will not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So here's the prices. This is all great.
Albeit, to be fair, the more drunk I got, the more the prices probably changed.
Anyway, and then I said to you, you can drink as much as you want. You and Katie bought into it so fucking well.
I can't remember, and again, they might listen. There was 4 boys. There might have been 5 boys actually.
Yeah, the geezer, bald geezer.
Yeah,
like,
he was talking around like
guy.
drinking. Like he kept coming up to the bar. He was like vodka. I was like, "What do you want with him?" He was like, "More
Nothing.
vodka." And he was like having quadruple vodkas at a time. And
Don't say this is so illegal.
well, and then the
He was having 2 doubles.
2 doubles, yeah. And the boys come up to the bar, and we done like we mate, honestly, was so drunk. We just made out what was going on. It was like, it's happy hour, and the 5 boys. I've got one of them on Instagram because he messaged me and was like, "You've destroyed me."
Yeah.
And he come up to the bar and was like, "Oh, we'll get 5 Jaeger bombs, but the only way we're gonna do them is if you 2 drink with us."
Yeah.
And it was like, "Oh, you've challenged the wrong people,
Yeah.
my friends."
'Cause
And we done
you
about
and
4 or
Katie-
5 in a row. Yeah.
You and Katie can drink. Like
Yeah.
you've got practice, right? So
Yeah.
and I'm going to throw this out there for anyone that's listening. We did comply with all laws because it sounds like we didn't.
No, we just had a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a funny night,
It was
and that's
very,
why
very
you
good
most
night.
probably might recognise Jack.
Very, very good night.
But yeah, back to it slightly. So obviously, like I said, financial. I think the wealth of an individual that's done well for themselves, not necessarily, financial wealth. The financial wealth of someone that's done extremely well for themselves, at least 50 to 80% of that isn't made up of the business that they've run necessarily, because it could be a shit idea. It's made up of the way that they've handled their money, that
The
they
management of
haven't.
it. Yeah.
And that's why I thought it'd be a sick idea, like I said, because knowing that you're in that position, knowing the things that you've done with your money over the years,
Yeah, like
and knowing the
know,
position that you're in, for the age
Yeah.
that you are, position that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have access to a fucking pool of cash.
Yeah.
I was very limited with what I had.
Yeah.
And I just had to make it work, and for me,
Yeah.
and grow the way that, you know, that I knew I could probably make it grow the best from the knowledge that I have of an industry.
Yeah.
You know, if I was sitting there going, I'm unbelievable at coding, I would have put my money into that. And
Yeah, of course.
but that was just the area that I was knowledgeable in. But yeah, mate, like I said, it does get easier each time, but each time brings different issues.
Yeah, of course.
And
It's a new investment every time, isn't it? Like, again, me investing in 10 grand's worth of stock, there's more stock to fucking turn up shit.
There's more
or
issues,
wrong.
mate.
Yeah.
more issues, and it goes back to that, like, more money, more problems.
Yeah.
You know, like even now with, you know, going back to the very boring like property lingo, but with stamp duty,
Yeah.
the tax.
Is that still what's the term for it? Because they stopped it, didn't they, for a little bit?
Yeah, they've frozen it, haven't
Waived
they?
it.
Yeah, March.
That's when it stops.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll carry it on again?
They haven't indicated that they will.
Yeah.
But like with the 3% stamp duty now, so if you
That
you know,
changed when I was with you,
yeah,
wasn't
mate.
it?
All they're doing is making it more and more difficult. Like, you know, our parents and before, you would only ever pay a single rate of tax on buying a property. And now you have one, you buy another one, it's fucking 3% extra on top of everything. So it's,
Yeah, we've got a outline as well. You ain't buying. Well, the houses that you bought, you didn't buy them fucking anywhere, mate. You bought them in London.
yes,
Southeast London. And that again is an achievement of your financial ability, because, well, it's easier to buy in other places. That's not to insult anyone, but it fucking is.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because obviously, ideally, like as an example, I'd like to live where I've lived my entire life. I'd like to continue living around here, but I was, based on my finances for whenever, like last year, whenever it was, and based on based on my finances last year and the houses that I was looking at yesterday, I ain't even looking at anything lavish either. But I'm going to struggle to buy. I couldn't buy mine. It just doesn't work.
it's tough, mate. It's hard.
Oh.
Like you know, around where your area is,
Yeah.
your average, you know, semi-detached house,
Yeah.
$500,000,
Yeah.
just over.
Yeah. Mental, isn't it? I was looking at 2-bedroom houses. Like, I put into Rightmove last night, just on the filters, like Sick Up, Bexley, I don't even touch Bromley because I know it won't be worth
Yeah,
it.
BR postcodes are crazy.
Yeah, but I put like Sidcup, Bexley, Blackfen. I think I put on there as well, and like I think I put up to at first I put 300 grand, and there's like nothing.
Not a lot turns up.
2 houses I
Yeah.
think turned up, mate.
Yeah.
And they were appalling. I took off apartments and flats as well just because I didn't want it, and then I think I put up to 350, and again you get about a page, 2 pages, and it's like they're fucking shot, mate. Like they're all due respect, they're like definitely the family are flogging it because the old person died in it.
Probate, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of style because they're fucking dated.
But,
So you're buying for that price, and then all of a sudden you've got to do so much work to them as well.
And then a lot of that price is going to be, leasehold, which is a fucking
Yeah.
another.
Yeah,
Like to get into that is long, but to get anything freehold, which is the ideal of what you want to be,
Yeah.
you're at another price point again. It's mad, mate. It's mad to try and get into it from fresh now. If you're not managing yourself correctly, but it is that you've got to. It's very difficult to say because, like you said, some people go, well, I don't have the luxury of not spending money on this or not on that. But it's
of course, yeah.
It's just making it work for you,
Yeah.
and setting your upper
what
limits.
I mean, when you say it's making it work for you as well, it's all about working on your bracket. That's how I would explain it. That's not the right wording, but like, so as an example, if you earn £100 an hour, you need to work on how you rein in the expenditure of what you're paying. If you earn minimum wage, £8.50 an hour, then again,
you do it for where
yeah.
you're at. Yeah.
So like at £8.50 an hour, it's a debate of should I be buying this takeaway on a Saturday evening once or twice a month? Like, should I be doing that? And as much as that seems fucking strange, it's that concept of, for me personally, it got easier. So like, the more money I earn, the more income I had, the easier it got to justify the spend at the higher rents. So when you're only earning X amount a month and that amount is at the very bottom, it's, oh God, like, I've literally got to not have Nando's or a curry or a Chinese on Saturday because it's the difference of 20 quid or not. Whereas when you get into the middle brackets, you're earning more money. It's not, am I taking that takeaway off at the weekend? Like, don't get me wrong, you can go as far as that, and really, if you've got goals, you should go as far should go as far as narrowing it down to that. However, it's now, do I need that 35 grand a year house? Why are you coming in now? We've gone for what, hour and 51 minutes, absolutely fine. And then his dad walks in. He's not, you're not going to say nothing. You're an alcoholic now.
Have you come to Sturmers to get a pint?
That's cute though. All right, let me explain where we are though, because I kind of touched on it earlier on. So basically, you built a bar at the end of the garden. Built a bar at the end of the garden, and now.
We built a nightclub at the end of it.
Okay, you built a nightclub at the end of the garden, and now Jack's dad is a Stella addict because he's got it on tap.
But the problem, the thing that he does, right, is that you'll never know whether he drinks a full pint because
I'm good. I've just had one. I've got to drive home.
he'll drink it, get like halfway down and top it up.
Oh, so you never know how many you've had?
Yeah, very clever. You'll never know that he's had a full pint because he never
good?
finishes one.
He finished his Stella and fucked off.
See what he done though? Drunk it, didn't finish it, topped it up,
but then poured
kept
it.
going.
Like, fucking poured it all away.
In that case.
Yeah. So yeah, when you become a middle class earner, all of a sudden it's not, should I save on the takeaways at the weekend, even though technically you should be, and you could be if you're aiming for goals, but then all of a sudden it becomes
it's all relevant.
Do I
It's all
need a
relevant to
25
you,
grand
yeah.
car? Like, is the £350, £400 a month payments coming out of my account really necessary?
I mean, I've done that recently, right?
Yeah.
You remember, and I was going to get a car.
Yeah.
That would have been stupid.
Yeah.
2-seater sports car.
Yeah.
Borderline supercar, I suppose. Well, it's
Did you
R8.
want- Oh
wasn't it?
yeah. Okay.
And I just went.
It's fucking pointless, isn't
yeah,
it?
I just went. Why?
Mate, I've done this.
Why am I going to do that?
Yeah, I've done this a million times over the last. Again, so since I've had this mentality, so like I said, I didn't get into this mentality until a later stage. I wasn't splashing out in the first place, but I wasn't where you were at, and now I'm where you were at, and I'm in like a bit of a better mindset. And I drive my van every day, bruv. I drive my van every day. It dailies me about, and I've thought plenty of times like I want a car. And I'm like, yeah, should I buy £100 shitter? No, I've got plenty of £100 shitters that I've bought and they've gone wrong.
Well,
and
we're gonna get a track car after all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, do I want to continue bowling around in shit cars? No, I don't. If I'm going to invest in the car, like Rihanna's got a F56 Mini, so she's like, her car's perfect, works perfectly well. It's lovely to jump into, just drive, go where you got to go. If I've got to nip to the shops and I'm with her, I like jumping in her car. I'm like, babe, I'm just going to take yours. She's like, yeah, of course. The vans work. You've got to work it to fucking drive it. It's big. It's huge. Like,
Yeah.
And there's plenty of times I've sat down and gone, no, my next car I'm going to get is going to be a proper car. Like, I mean, as in, I buy it properly. It's going to be my car for fucking years, but at least it's one of those ones that I can jump into. I don't mind driving every time. But then all of a sudden, you're looking, for me, the ones that I want, because I don't want anything underneath, is like a 25 grand car. So a lot of people mostly think, that's fucking excessive. You could buy yourself a 5 grand to 10 grand car. But I'd feel like I'd be wasting my money, so I wouldn't do that. But then again, I haven't bought a 25 grand car either, so I ain't going to fucking do that. So I've been sitting there for ages, tossing that up. I want an old E92 BMW M3. And I'm like, that's literally the car I've always wanted. When I first started my sales job, the guy that was pretty much the biggest earner at the time in my division where I could get to, he had an old M3. Yeah, so, and it's the car I've always wanted. I looked at it, I saw it every day, and it was wrapped in satin black, and I was like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. That's just perfect, exactly what I want. And again, like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it because I don't need to do it.
Yeah, I think the idea of having it...
The idea of having it is perfect.
And then you get there...
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying that I'm like an angel and I haven't done stupid things
course,
and gone out and bought things. I'll go, that hurt.
Yeah.
But you get there, you build yourself up to it, and you're like, right, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. I'm going to save, put this money away, get there, you buy it, and you go, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
But it wasn't worth all the aggro of going through to get it sometimes. I think it's just very much dependent on you. Like what we're saying about, I mean, what we're going the lines of is saving to purchase a property, but someone might have a different opinion of saving to get that car.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing, and you get there in the same ways.
Yeah, of course. It's just, for me now, I've figured out that whole kind of, that mentality of, actually, I don't need that. I think it's a what
want more than need.
Yeah, I think that's what you figured out, like, throughout your whole thing. You were like, I need to invest to get myself to where I would like to be in life. I need to invest. Then you did that, set that goal. Then you sat down in your dad's business and you said, we want stuff, we don't fucking need them. Like, we want the biggest package on Rightmove. We don't fucking need that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, okay, they bring perks, but they bring a financial fucking loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then you figured it out. And it's the same for me. I want a fucking BMW M3. Don't need it. Really don't fucking need it at all. So I can really be like, no, don't need that. That's an expense I really don't want coming out of my account because I'll be at a bigger financial loss. So it's and then again, like I said, back down to that £8.50 an hour fucking part-time jobs or whatever it is that you're doing. Let's say that you're earning smaller amounts. You're earning minimum at the minute. It's one of those situations like, do I need that fucking Chinese? I've got chicken sitting in the fridge. Like, that's what you need to toss up. It's hard. It's fucking hard.
It is. But
it's nearly impossible. But
it is. But once you get into the routine of it,
it's like
it's very difficult to get out.
It's like a workout.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden you're like hitting gym, eating well. Then all of a sudden you get into it. I did it with booze. There was a phase where I didn't drink for a very long time, and I got into that swing. I was just like, no, I don't drink,
and it's very difficult to break it
because then you don't want to break it.
Yeah, but like, going back to the fitness analogy you just used, like it's the same with trying to invest in certain things. Like you're seeing a physical change.
Yeah.
And you'll train 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And you'll eat fairly well 5 days out of 7.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror and you go, oh shit.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm starting to,
I'll tell you what, I'm going to train 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to eat healthy 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Then you get to the next stage and you're like, shit, I'm even more shredded.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's up the training.
Yeah.
And let's go the full 7 days now. You just have to set those sensible goals, and once you've hit it, it's just
Yeah.
naturally just fall to the next one.
Seeing more money in your bank account, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, but what's money if you can't spend it? It's not about not necessarily spending it, it's about spending it the right way.
Yeah, like I said, I'd never sit there and go, I don't go out on a Friday night and have a fucking unbelievable time, or go to Ibiza and
Live it
have
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because 100% that's what life's for, right?
Yeah.
But I just like to think of it, if I could get myself set in the first place,
Yeah.
I could then do those things,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't feel as not as guilty. Well, yeah, as guilty of going to
Yeah.
Ibiza and
Yeah.
spending stupid money.
Of course, yeah.
Because I've already got X, Y, Z to
It's
fall
a bit
back on.
more financial freedom, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got a safety net
Yeah.
as such that I've
Yeah,
you
money
know,
management. That's what I said.
Yeah,
Like, I take that 10 grand. I make 3 out of it, and I'm like, right, 2 grand savings, 1 grand net, like safety net, and then repeat. Like
Yeah.
if I fucking can. Like, do you know what I mean? Or 1 grand reinvest and then repeat. Like that sort of thing. Like it's the same shit. It's like money management. So money management, I think, is fucking key to any business, to make sure that you,
and personal,
yeah, business and personal, to make sure that you can really get your way through, basically. And then it's a long-term game, but with great reward when you actually nail it. Great reward when you
Agreed.
actually start to figure it out.
Agreed.
So yeah, have we covered everything? Because
I think so.
how we met, so cute, isn't it? We've had
It
a
is
proper
cute.
one-to-one.
Yeah.
How we met.
This is our
Good
problem
jobs.
because as we said before, we actually do this on a daily basis.
We don't recite this much. I mean, the Brassic thing was a throwback.
We don't go that deep, yeah. But we do just chat absolute bollocks, yeah, for
We dream.
hours.
We're going to dream after this as well, because we've got some stuff to
Yeah,
talk
we're
about.
gonna- we're gonna
Won't be too late. Have you eaten dinner?
No, I haven't.
You need to fucking eat, boy. Or have I got to
Yeah.
shoot off and then fucking...
But we're we've got some things to go through anyway.
Yeah,
Some
definitely.
possible new ideas.
Yeah,
So-
I love it. I love it. Right, let me just sign out. So, thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it. Again, obviously it was never my intention to stop the Let's Talk podcast, but I would love to really get it running as frequently as I possibly can. Obviously it's incredibly fucking hard right now with COVID. I've messaged some wicked people that a lot of the viewers are gonna know. A lot of you lot that are listening right now are gonna know way bigger than me, my brand, and this YouTube channel, which is incredibly small at the minute. So they're in the lineup. It's just getting them, how we're going to do it, how we're going to work it out, where they can sit in a room. That's how much it comes down to on the confusing side of things. If you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, make sure you tune in again. Stay in for notifications on the Instagram. If you're on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. Like and subscribe, because it's going to help me out so much. I've got some more YouTube videos coming soon as well. Stay tuned for them. Other than that, I think that's it. We done?
I think so, mate.
Appreciate it. Safe
Thank you very
people.
much.